Yes, I'm looking forward to the monster truck sumo match.
No, you're not. No, you are
No,
not.
I am, because I've read the WrestleCrap article about it, so I know what's happening.
Oh God.
I know that Hogan throws Giant off the roof of Cobo Hall, and then Giant shows up later, and they don't fucking mention it. All right.
Yeah, but he doesn't
I need to
really throw him off the top of the roof. He just kind of climbs over, and then you just don't see the Giant anymore.
I need the Google Doc. Google Doc. Do the Google Doc. There we are.
You're not enjoying Lex Luger looking like a complete retard in front of the microphone?
No. What do we got here?
Oh, and you would know this. Why is it the new Paul Orndorff?
Because he talked to Gary Spivey of the Psychic Companions Network. Didn't you listen to Fall Fucking Brawl? Come on, dude.
No, I listened to Fall Brawl, but I did not go back and watch that shit. Way too much commitment.
Dude literally has a Brillo pad on his head.
Jesus Christ.
Not a joke.
Let's see, the Gary Spivey thing I think was covered on the WPAN at one
It was
point.
also on WrestleCrap, yeah. Ooh, look, the Battleground predictions are right there. Beautiful.
I'm on top of shit, Adam, since I started putting this list together.
I know, it's very much.
Fuck you, Jason.
What?
I miss Troy.
I do.
Okay, but I'm here.
Yeah, but you're here.
Just some love, man.
Doesn't mean we don't like you. It means we miss him.
That's true. I miss Troy too.
Although I think we need to work something out, because the truth is he can take a hiatus from his show and still make guest appearances on the Rundown, because it's not his full-time podcast. I think that's a loophole.
Lord knows there's a lot of them going on in wrestling these days.
Sorry, I gotta do this. And it says, if you can take him both days, he...
So O.J. Simpson got released from jail today, or will be getting released from jail after his hearing today.
Yeah, who the fuck cares?
Anybody ever see Cape Fear?
Nope.
Long ass time ago.
Well, do you remember the scene that they spoofed on The Simpsons when he's like...
I'm going to post the link on Crockett's page, too.
There you go. The only thing I know about Cape Fear is the Far Side cartoon that had
That's not what I fucking wanted. How did that happen? Jesus Christ. Sorry, go ahead.
And it was like it said Cape Buffalo Fear, and it was a buffalo in a car driving past a house. It's the only thing I know about Cape Fear, and I don't even know what the fuck that means. So,
You never saw the Sideshow Bob episode where they spoofed that?
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Dude, we fucking used that sound, or we had a fan who listened to our show use that sound clip for was it Cesaro swinging somebody back and forth against the barricade?
I've heard you talk about it. I don't think I heard that episode back then, but
way back when. That's your fucking classic right there.
But that's what I picture OJ
Classic
Simpson is getting out of jail, just working out into the like, OJ, you've been released, and then he gets out looking to kill people again.
I actually quoted that episode today.
Did you?
Well, anyone who speaks German can't be all bad.
Count me amongst those who aren't sure he actually did it.
What, the murders?
Yep.
I'm not saying he killed her, but I understand.
I'm not saying he didn't know about it. I'm just saying I don't know that he actually.
He's not the one who actually did it. I got you.
I think his son did it.
I got you.
His son Jason did it. That's always been my take, and he's covering for him.
Jason Jordan.
Oh.
Simpson.
All right,
Let's see if this works now. There we go.
Sharing links.
All right, cool. All right, so live chat, pop out the chat. Matt Riley's already in the chat room. Look at that. That's dedication, Holmes.
Miley.
Yeah, he's complaining. He says he keeps getting an error message that something went wrong. I said, give it a second, asshole.
Yeah, let's call our listeners assholes. Good fucking job, Sal. Jesus Christ.
I'm the one who got you that listener.
I don't care who got us the listener. Let's not shit on them while they're there.
Yeah, Matt can take it. He's a big boy.
And he's glad to see Taz is back on.
Hey, Taz! I texted Andy and I just said, podcast? Question mark. But
And he goes, yes, I do them all the time.
We are officially the only podcast with a talking raccoon and a Taz lookalike.
yeah. So we got that going for us. Hey, look, Jason Stewart posted and putting over podcasts.
Yeah. I wonder what that was. I hear tell they might be in attendance this Sunday.
Yeah, so you said.
Yeah.
I told the new guy in my office about the podcast, so he might subscribe. And I think he did subscribe. He might show up tonight, we'll see.
And then he won't talk to you in the office anymore.
All right, ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
That wasn't a sentence, but it was close enough. Sal?
Yep. Just let me know when to hit record.
Don't judge me.
He'll go 3, 2, 1, and record.
Mm-hmm.
I know how this shit works.
My wife is judging me.
Is she flashing you?
No, she is not flashing me. Wait. Now she is. Okay.
Boobs! White chocolate titties.
There you go.
Not what Kurt Angle said 27 years ago.
Jordan.
I think they're just going to replace
Jordan.
They're just going to replace Jason Jordan with Shelton Benjamin, one black guy for another.
Vince won't know the fucking difference.
The new American Alpha.
Ready to go?
Yep.
Okay. 3:03. In 3, 2, 1. Record.
Theme song. Theme song. Theme song. Theme song.
My anus gapes anew. It's episode 303 of The Rundown. My name is Adam. I'm your host. Sweating like a bastard. It is Thursday, July the 20th, 2017. Joining me this week, Jason is here.
I know those lines you read come directly from our host thread,
They do.
but I don't remember that one, and I'm glad I don't.
Yeah. Also joining us this week, special guest, because he promised to come here all the time, then he never fucking shows up. Taz is here. I mean, Sal is here.
What's up, Rundown?
The only way I ever know if Sal is showing up on the show is I don't get any voicemails in the mailbox.
Well, there's no sense in leaving a voicemail if I'm going to be live.
It's true.
And in living color.
Sal Adams just used to you stuffing his box.
Yeah.
My anus gapes anew.
There you go.
My anus gapes anew.
And if you would like to discuss Adam's anus, you can join us live on our YouTube channel. If you're there, you'll look over to the right-hand side of your screen. You'll see a box. It'll say live chat. You'll see a guy by the name of Matt Riley hanging out in there already. We call it the Smathers Lounge, although we might have to rename it because Smathers has been slipping. We encourage you to slip in there, slip off your pants, grab yourself some oil, make yourself comfortable. You can do it without the oil, but it's not as much fun. And join the conversation. Share your thoughts. We got a huge stacked show tonight.
We have an exclusive announcement that we will get to later.
Probably more relevant to our fans in the New England area,
But still
pretty exclusive and awesome. Yes, very excited about this.
I am as well. You should be. Even if you're not in the New England area, you should be excited about this announcement because it's just so fucking cool.
And exclusive.
Exclusive.
Nobody else has it. We also have some news to discuss that was broken today, exclusive to our buddies over at the New Age Insiders podcast too, but we'll get to that in a little bit as well.
Was it broken?
Not broken like that.
Ah, damn it. Still waiting.
Good luck with that. Where should we begin this week? I know. You guys, Mike Kanellis had a match in WWE.
That's where you started? I put this list together in what I thought was kind of order of importance from the stuff that happened this week, and you jumped right
You didn't tell me it was an order of importance.
Well, I kind of figured it went without saying by looking at the freaking list. But okay, we'll get started. I'm more than
You
happy
get mad
to
at me when I jump around. You get mad at me when I don't jump around.
Well, because you don't jump around, I organized the list so that we didn't have this issue. Now we're bitching at each other live on air. This is not good radio. Jesus Christ, Adam, get your shit together. Yeah, so Mike Kanellis debuted in the ring this week on SmackDown, scoring a dubious victory, if you will, over the underdog from the underground, Sami Zayn. Taz, do you think they ruined him?
No. I do not. I love Mike Kanellis. I love the whole gimmick. I'll admit I was a little not so great when he first showed up on SmackDown in the middle of Maria's promo. Sammy just walked out, music hit, and everybody was like, "Oh, well, I have a match. Sorry, I got to go to the ring." But Mike hitting him with the vase last week was amazing, and I think you know what, Mike and Maria has always had that very good ability to be hated.
Did you say vase?
What did he hit Sammy with?
I've heard it pronounced vase, and I've heard it's pronounced vase. I've never heard anyone say vase.
Okay, vase. Vase. He hit him with a vase. And Maria jumping in the ring this week to distract the referee was perfect. They are the new Mike and Mike Mazan and Maurice of SmackDown.
The so great.
Big mark for that song. Big mark.
Same here. I'm a big mark for people. Remember, I went back when I was the only one discussing TNA on this show. I was a big fan of Mike Kanellis, Mike Bennett back then, as well as during his indie career.
The Miracle Mike Bennett.
I sort of liked the Miracle better than what he's doing now. I liked, but you know, we'll see how this plays out long term.
Love hurts.
It does, and I like the Miracle in Progress as a name for that finisher more than I like, what do they call it, the Power of Love or something like that.
It was something really trite and dumb, yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought it was the work was good. It's hard to imagine
that right hand before the finisher though was fantastic. That just looked so great.
But just the way they coordinated the finish with Maria getting in there and distracting him enough for him to. So it really kind of sold the whole gimmick of her being the power behind the couple, being responsible for his win. They gave Sammy the out of being able to say, you know, she cost him the match. I thought everything was done beautifully, and I thought it set up very nicely for apparently what's going to be a rematch at the pay-per-view.
I'm perfectly all right with that. And yeah, like you had said a couple of weeks ago, this is a great first feud from Mike. Those two are just. She's great on the mic. I think that's really underestimated how good she is and how much heat she can get. So she's definitely better than Maurice in that department. But yeah, let's see what they do this Sunday at Mike Bennett's pay-per-view debut.
Yeah, we talked about it when they started having this program between the two of them that Sammy is the perfect starting opponent for Mike to bring out the best and show the WWE what he can do if they have not followed him previously. Did you just notice that on there?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have for the little inside baseball on this one, we have a sheet of rundown topics that we're going to discuss throughout the course of the show. I made the mistake of sharing it out to the other co-hosts if there's anything they wanted to add. And occasionally, I'm guessing Troy.
I am as well. I'm guessing that was Troy.
Throw something in there just to see if I notice, and I just noticed it now. So, and we're not going to discuss it on the show, but Troy, the answer is no, but I'll go looking for it afterwards.
Leave them in suspense. Leave them wanting more as to what that topic may have been.
Yes.
When
Troy returns, we can discuss it.
Okay. All right. Since you're so enamored with this list, shall we start at the top then?
I won't do the fucking list if you mock the list.
Oh, for the love.
Speaking of list, you know what, Adam? You want to make fun of the rundown sheet? You want to have jokes and make comments? Guess what, pal? You just made the list. Not really. I just deleted you from it.
All right. So the big story this week, the big thing, the big item, finally revealed. Kurt Angle's possible career-ending secret. He had sex with a black lady. I was it our host thread? I think somebody pointed out that he said 9 months after their last date.
Yeah,
so pump and dump. Yeah. Jason Jordan is yes. Kurt Angle's illegitimate child.
Although I think my new favorite line from our host thread regarding this topic has to go to Troy for saying Kurt Angle added a fourth I for interracial. Smathers in the house. He's joined us in the Smathers Lounge. About time he showed up. But in any event, Smathers says live shows have a different feel without the pyro, in case anyone was wondering. And no one gave a fuck live, by the way. So Smathers, of course, our chat room hobo, if you will, is live this week at the Nashville tapings of Raw. So if he has any particular insights to things that maybe we didn't see on TV, I'm sure we'd love to hear him share those in the chat room. And Adam's left the show. Okay, so Taz, Jason Jordan being revealed as Kurt Angle's illegitimate child. I guess maybe now he is legitimate. I don't know. We'll find out. But your thoughts on this angle?
So on which angle, Jason or Kurt?
All
right. Speaking of the live crowd in Nashville, I am interested in what Smathers would say as far as the reaction, because it seemed like a lot of people in that building when that was revealed were kind of like, what? Wait, for real? And, albeit for me to, say something's ruined before it actually gets started.
No.
I am decently interested in this. In my opinion, Jason Jordan was doing nothing on SmackDown. He was doing nothing but dark matches and house shows. This kind of gives him a fresh start. I think the better story, if it was going to ruin his career, was that they should have told is that Kurt knew about it and ran away anyway because he didn't want to be a father that young. That's kind of the route I would have went down, but of course they're not going to do that to Kurt. But I'm not against it as so many other people I've seen on Twitter are. I mean, come on, guys. What did you expect? Did you expect he was going to be Vince's son or something?
I don't have a problem with the angle in and of itself. I think I always dislike the illegitimate child thing. I didn't like it when they did it with Hornswoggle or Mr. Kennedy or any of that stuff.
Things are looking up.
Okay. Because I think it really limits where you can go with that character once you make them a family member of somebody else, even in an on-air role. Now, perhaps somewhere down the line, we've set up for the possibility of finding out that Jordan does a heel turn, finding out that he set up the whole thing to use Kurt's influence in the company and his position as GM to get himself ahead. And that would be a cool thing to do with it to kind of end the actual connection. But I dislike it not for that reason, but I dislike it really because, as anyone that listens to this show regularly can tell you, I was a huge mark for the American Alpha tag team. I feel like they never really got a chance to establish themselves as a team that they should have. And that's sort of my biggest problem. Not necessarily that they're breaking up all these teams, but that they're really breaking up these teams before they establish them to the extent that the crowd is really emotionally invested in the split. You go back and you remember things like Marty Jannetty getting thrown through the plate glass window. You remember. You were invested in the Rockers. You had a long history with them. They were established. Even, and to a more recent extent, DIY to that NXT crowd was established. There was an emotional connection to that team because they were at the top of the chain. Enzo and Cass never really got there on Raw. Never even got a tag team run in either promotion, in either, whatever you want to call it, Raw or NXT. And American Alpha kind of came up from NXT and was was on the island of misfit toys on SmackDown since they got there for whatever reason. I have no idea. I've never been able to figure that out. I think that's a team they could have built the entire tag division around going forward and into the future. But they've decided to split them. But nobody cares. There's not that connection to Alpha. There's not that connection to Enzo and Cass. and as a result, it just kind of makes the fact that they split up when it should have meaning.
I did laugh at Gable's tweet though, where Gable just Chad Gable just took to Twitter after the announcement and just put, what?
Yeah,
and that made me laugh.
Got a couple more visitors in the chat room. Ken has joined us. Ken Lockhart in the house. I mentioned Smathers is there. He said cruiserweights got a bigger reaction, and half the arena was getting popcorn during those matches. Okay. Also said, sorry, who else? Matt Riley says he's glad Jordan's finally getting a singles push. He thinks he'll make for a good mid-card guy. Unless with Kurt's influence, he'll be in the Universal title picture. And that's kind of where I guess Matt sort of touches on, in a way, what I'm getting at. I don't see this angle getting Jason Jordan any further than the mid-card as a singles competitor, whereas I thought he could have been a top of the division in the tag team with Chad Gable.
Sure.
But the problem with that is that he wasn't getting there with Chad Gable. They were doing nothing with Alpha really for months. They won the tag team titles, and you don't even remember that they did because that's how short-lived their reign was.
It wasn't that it was short-lived. It was that it was unmemorable. You look at the fact they left them off WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Despite the fact they had a very good program at the time going with the Usos, they left a lot on the table with Alpha. I feel like they left a lot on the table with Enzo and Cass. And I guess they sort of did Alpha in a way where you can bring them back and make them a team as a sort of an amicable, hey, we're just on
split.
Yeah. Enzo and Cass, I don't know, you can put back together, but, you know.
Now, would you agree that Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa's, despite the injury, the actual split was handled beautifully?
Yes, I was on record here and saying that, and that's to me is the difference between what I talked about with Alpha. There was an investment in those characters. The crowd felt like they were behind these guys. They really were cheering for them. They loved the team of DIY. Mm-hmm. So that made that moment special when they did it. It was an oh shit moment. It was the barbershop moment of NXT,
and it was right after the main event of that pay-per-view.
And it seemed to come out of nowhere. This was a fart in church because nobody cared that Enzo broke up. That Alpha broke up.
No, nobody did. The Alpha part was a complete afterthought. And considering who's the guy booking it, Triple H has been on record as being a fan of tag team wrestling. Vince has never cared about his tag team division. Go back and look how they treated the Legion of Doom, one of the greatest tag teams of all time, when they got to the WWF. And it's been worse. In fact, I think Vince has started looking at tag teams as just either a comedy act or some type of pre-show opener. Because either it's Breezango or you have like Goldust and R-Truth that was a tag team for a while, but there's no kick-ass tag teams anymore. It's just not something that Vince books on his shows.
Well, and they're also, if you look at it, they're sort of breaking up all the face teams. And the question then becomes, where are the replacements for these guys? I mean, we'll get to Battleground predictions later, but you almost have to assume New Day's winning because who else? I mean, the Usos have already beaten Breezango, Fashion Police. They've already beaten, who else am I thinking of? They're about to split the Hype Bros up. I think we all see the writing on the wall for that one.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Who else is on SmackDown? Who else do they have for face teams?
Oh, no, New Day's going to win. That's almost a guarantee. And like you said, it's just because they don't have anybody else at this point.
They could fight the Ascension.
Vince doesn't even know who the Ascension are.
Maybe they could bring back the Headbangers for another run.
There you go.
That's how Vince has viewed his tag team division for years now. It's a comedy act. It's a joke.
And no, you didn't. I was going to say you forgot about Slino, but they're on Raw now. So.
Yeah. Ken says, I'm assuming he's talking about Jordan. Way too soon to be a main eventer. Agree. I don't think that's what's in the cards for him. Smathers responds with too vanilla to be a main eventer. And we'll see.
I think he's more chocolate.
I wasn't going to make that joke. Kenny says Ciampa needs to be on the main roster. As long as it's not 205 Live, I'm okay with that. And Smathers again says Enzo was over as hell, by the way. Loudest pop of the night. Hardys were number 2, and they hated Reigns. So par for the course.
Okay, now I'm glad Smathers said that about Enzo, because you had mentioned that the fans didn't care about Enzo and Cass splitting up, and I disagree with that.
No. I did not say that. I said they weren't invested in that team, that there was money left on the table in a tag title run with those guys.
Okay.
Sure.
And I think there was. I really think the Hardys' return coming when it did kind of screwed the pooch on that for them. I really think they were set to win those titles at WrestleMania in that ladder match. And they hot-shotted them onto the Hardys, and then it was kind of like, well, what do we do with these guys? Because the Enzo and Cass, I really feel, were set to be the big face tag team on Raw.
Sure.
Except when the Hardys came back and took that spot, they were kind of like, well, what do we do with these guys now? Let's split them up. Because I have a feeling that as soon as Vince saw Cass, he was already thinking of ways to get him as a singles guy.
But the problem is that, and to your point, they should have never have split up Enzo and Cass, because one without the other is really no good. Enzo is a great talker. He can have a lot of sympathy. Do I see him getting some type of mid-card title? No. Do I see him even wrestling a match from here on out? Yeah, maybe once a month. And Cass is, like you said a couple weeks ago, he's got the size, but he's got that skinny, fat look, and he's kind of deer headlights out there when he's cutting promos, and he can beat Big Show all he wants. Is he really going to be a main eventer for this company? No, not at all. So, I mean, the better act was him with Enzo, because Enzo could pretty much talk for him.
Sure, I don't think his promos have been that bad as...
No, but they're just, you could, there's nothing behind them.
Kenny says Ciampa could be on SmackDown Live. Just saying, I'd rather they do something with Ty Dillinger right now and bring Ciampa up later. But that's just me.
Yeah.
Instead of having him fight AIDS on the pay-per-view every month.
Again.
But the one thing I will say with Ty
on the kickoff show, because it won't be on the DVD.
Right.
That's true. The one thing I will say about Dillinger is that when they need to, cook him up, you put him in the final 3 of the Battle Royal last week. He was great. Fans reacted to him.
And that's great, Sal, and I agree with that. And this is exactly what I saw coming up for him. The problem is, you waste that goodwill when you then follow that up doing nothing with him, and it doesn't take too long for fans to forget about it.
To get bored, yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right on that. I think he needs a strong program, and it's definitely not in English. But
part of the problem is that all the top mid-card guys are kind of in a rut on SmackDown, because the secondary title is being fought for by the main event guys on SmackDown, and that's kind of, I think, throwing everything for a loop.
Now, that being said, I would assume that the Jinder Randy feud comes to an end this Sunday.
I would hope so.
So Jinder has to move on to a new challenger. And do we see anybody kind of rising from that mid-card to challenge Jinder going into SummerSlam?
Well, of course, the rumors going into SummerSlam are that it's going to be Cena and Jinder.
That's not a mid-carder.
Well, he's not at the top of the card on this coming pay-per-view, so.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that? Honestly, a fucking flag match in 2017.
All right, we can jump to that, because I'm gonna shock some people on this one. Are we done with? Hold on, we really haven't even scraped the surface here on Kurt Angle and Jason Jordan. I feel like we're kind of glossing over that. We got the Enzo and Cass somehow out of there. The funniest part to me, and maybe it's just the power of suggestion, but watching that interview with the two of them post Raw, I sat there and went, "Oh, I sort of see a resemblance between these two."
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of blew my mind a little bit. But then again, I also saw the same thing when I was watching Gable on SmackDown, because I don't know, something about it was weird. But
I enjoyed that interview. I enjoyed the story that they were telling. I enjoyed the shortness of it. How Angle, cut it off saying, "Can I just? I appreciate doing this, but can I just have some time with my new son?"
Yeah. Here's the thing I'm going to give him the most credit for. They didn't leave anything. Everything was explained. They made a point to have Corey put over why he was involved in this. Exactly. And I thought that was a big, big plus for the show.
Yeah.
Because they could have just left that hanging, and people are like, well, people won't remember that. But they didn't. They took the time to fucking explain it, and I give them credit for that, because I think that was a good sign to see that they paid that attention to detail.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you how I found out.
My biggest question over the past few weeks is why the fuck is Corey getting these text messages too? And yeah, we got all the it all played out. Go ahead.
Let me tell you how I found out that Jason Jordan was being portrayed as Kurt Angle's son.
I guess I got the guy on Twitter.
No. I got home late on Monday. I got home around 10:40, and I turned on Raw, which is like the worst thing you can do because you're going in blind. But I knew that Roman and Samoa Joe were going to be fighting at that time. So I watched that match with no knowledge of that they had already done the Angle segment. I thought that was coming after the match. So out of nowhere, after Raw, as Raw's going off the air, they cut to a backstage with Renee, and they're like, coming up next on the WWE Network. And I'm like, wait, why is Kurt Angle sitting next to what the fuck did I miss? Then after going back and watching it, I can say that it's much better option than him having an affair with Dixie Carter. It's much better an option than him being one of Stephanie McMahon's daughter's father. So, I'll take. I like to see where it goes.
Something that was on the table. That's a horrible idea.
Oh, that might have been on the table from one of our people in the host thread, but
Right.
Well, and this was always the thing with me when we're planning out what this announcement could have been, was because there were so few options that people were presenting that wouldn't make Angle look like a heel.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He cheats on his wife and he's the face. No, he's but he's
and props to Angle for selling the hell out of that.
Yeah,
with the tears and the crying and everything. The whole thing was great.
Yeah, his facials were great this week as well. What?
Which, when you said a little bit earlier that
Adam always takes it to a dirty place. Never mind.
I do.
Jason, when you said a little bit earlier that later on down the road they could easily turn Jordan heel, you see that when you see how invested Kurt Angle the character is in this guy being his son.
Right.
It would break his heart if Jordan was like, I just used you to get to the top.
Right.
I'm interested.
And they're already teasing the whole conflict of interest thing with, hey, he's his father, but he's also the general manager. So how are we gonna be fair with that?
And I sort of like the idea, and this is a little bit goofy, but Jordan went on Twitter that night and said, hey, I guess I'm gold-blooded. And I kind of like that line. That's a good T-shirt right there.
It's a T-shirt. It sells itself.
Yes. There was also a guy on Twitter. I forget who. I apologize to him. I forget who he works for, but he's kind of does wrestling reports. I think maybe Sports Illustrated, who said after the fact, said, go back and check all my tweets from today.
Yep.
And somebody went back.
I'll find it. Keep talking.
Somebody went back and looked at it, and I think the first word of every tweet he had said that day, if you read them all out in succession, said something to the extent of Jason Jordan is Kurt Angle's son, you fucking marks, or something like that.
Even going back in that guy's timeline, he had posted a picture of, he had put Michael Jordan's face on Kurt Angle's body. And
it is James McKenna at Chill Hartman, ChillHartman, senior news producer at Wrestling Sheet, Film Geek. All opinions are my own, except blah blah blah. ProWrestlingSheet.com. But yes, Jason from Friday the 13th is 100% the greatest horror movie villain of all. Jordan is always going to be better than Lonzo Ball just because only one. Is it just me, or is a Goofy movie anyone else's favorite Disney flick ever? Angle's complete bewilderment in all of these photos makes me happy. Son of the Beach is greater than Son of the Mask. You think that when they were making the Dennis Farina Unsolved Mysteries, something about Robert Stack, idiots are running everything in New York denotes everything. Yes. Jason Jordan is Angle's son, you idiots.
So good on that, dude.
Yeah, seriously.
Taking a page out of the Carolina Panthers did something similar.
Also, a tweet from June 18th saying, just so we can squash this one more time, any rumor of Angle and Triple H having a feud over the next few months is, let's just say, illegitimate.
That's good.
And then the tweet where he put Michael Jordan's face over Kurt Angle's head.
Yeah, I saw that.
Just to get caught up on the side real quick, Kenny says if Ty is Mr. Number 10, push him to at least the IC title. Problem is he's on the wrong show to go for the IC title. Although he's doing his best to get in Miz's head on Twitter. Then says Gable is going to be a heel now. Trust me. We'll see. I guess we'll find out. Matt Riley says Corbin cashes in. I'm not sure what context that was regarding. And then Smathers says he sent Adam an email, and I wonder if there's nudes.
Is it the ugly dick contest?
It could be. Maybe Smathers is entering the ugly dick contest.
What do we got here? It says, don't turn Jordan. Let Angle back him until Steph shows up and accuses him of nepotism. Ironically, Angle steps down to stay in Jordan's corner, but Jordan fails to win whatever title he's after. Angle turns on Jordan, claiming he's not his genetic material, never will be as good, cost him GM job, etc. Then we get Angle coming back to fight Jordan at the Rumble or something. Fun twist, I think.
No, you can't put Angle as the heel in this.
I don't think so.
Jason Jordan doesn't have the sympathy needed. It's much easier to do it the other way and put Jason Jordan as the heel. But look, we're already breaking them up. I mean, they just
What are we, Vince?
they just got together. Let them be father and son for a few months.
Olympic Titus.
Olympic Titus. Jesus Christ. Speaking of Titus,
Okay.
Interesting situation with him and Tozawa. And, Apollo Crews, and he throws in the towel. He's trying to help Tozawa, and Tozawa's like, I don't need any help. And meanwhile, on 205, Tozawa literally almost got his arm torn off. I got to assume that at some point, the end game is going to be Tozawa versus Titus, or Tozawa versus Crews. He's not beating up.
If you follow 205 Live, and I didn't catch much of it, but one of the things I did catch is that Tozawa won his match by holding the tights. So it looks like they're telling the story of a slow heel turn for Tozawa. And the more he hangs out with Titus, the more he starts taking shortcuts until eventually he goes full-blown heel.
He did hold the tights, but he got the crap kicked out of his arm the whole match. So it was, Graves painted it as he did what he had to do to win. And then
we'll find out.
And then Arya Daivari beat him up after the match too. So
we got this whole list of topics, and we ended up on Titus and fucking Tozawa as our second topic. That happened.
I was gonna make a joke that it's not on the list, so we can't talk about it. But
what is on the list, and it's certainly tied to what we were just talking about, was that on SmackDown we had the sit-down interview with Chad Gable, conducted by Renee.
Yep.
The result being it was canceled right after it happened. So seriously, the poor woman's had 3 shows now canceled on the WWE Network. That's got to be a record.
What was the third one?
It was Unfiltered. It was this, and then there was a third. I forget what the third one was, but there was.
Well, she was the original host of Raw Talk until she got replaced.
Well, Raw Talk is still, as far as I know, because that's only post pay-per-view, and they're still doing Talking Smack.
But is it Renee or is it Charlie Caruso?
I still think
they gave up on Charlie after that first one.
It was not good at all.
I got my phone. I got a light on my phone. I got a flashlight on my phone.
Oh God, Adam, what'd you think of Chad Gable's sit-down interview this week?
I'm honest. I'm not sure. It just felt kind of awkward to me. I don't know. It was very. I know we talked about how the Angle Jordan thing was short, but this just felt really kind of just stunted and not that great to me.
But he's got plans for himself, which is weird to say.
I think my favorite part of the whole thing was, I've got plans. I don't know what they are yet. Well, you know what, Chad? You and creative are on the same page. No, really, Chad, we've got plans for you. We don't know what they are yet, but we'll do something with you after we take you out of the tag team. Promise.
Hey, they need faces on SmackDown.
For what it's worth, and I know some people have their opinions on this guy, and he's not necessarily my favorite, but this week Meltzer went on record as saying, within the next couple years, Gable is going to be a top flight main event caliber superstar on SmackDown.
I did see that.
I'm all right with that.
Yeah,
he had he already had a great match with AJ Styles on free TV.
Oh, Troy's gonna kick your ass.
But that's fine. That's not a pay-per-view main event. That's different.
No, of course. I'm just I joke, but no, I like Chad Gable, the singles guy, and he's got a long ways to go, but he could be something. Especially, you got a plethora of heels on SmackDown. You could stick him with anybody.
Plethora.
Plethora.
And of the two, I sort of feel like Gable has the more personality than Jordan too.
Oh, that's Jordan's biggest problem for years in NXT.
See, but here's the thing, though, and this is not a rant.
Verbal comment.
The thing that I find particularly interesting with the Angle and Jason Jordan thing is, I think Jordan could do wonders playing sort of the straight guy, wooden guy that's very funny, in the same way Kurt did when he first showed up.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Like if we get on Raw at some point and Kurt and Jason are wearing little matching red cowboy hats, I might lose my shit.
I might be. I'm down for that. That works beautifully. And that could be the nice part about this Jason Jordan Kurt Angle situation is the comedy that they might do. But we'll see. You know, I think Chad Gable's got a future. It's unfortunate because apparently Ty Dillinger doesn't. But you know. I love Ty, man.
That makes me sad.
But but a second, not even second pay-per-view in a row. Just since WrestleMania, this is his second pre-match with Aiden English for no fucking reason.
When we did our fantasy draft before they did the brand extension, when he was still a mid-level guy on NXT, I drafted Ty Dillinger. I saw it in this kid back then. I still see it in him. I really fucking hope he gets a chance to run with the ball at some point soon.
Me too.
But I really think a lot of that hinges on getting the mid-card title back to mid-card guys.
Well, like you said, he's on the wrong show. Miz needs a new challenger for his IC belt. Fuck, get Ty over there. Like, seriously.
By the way, from a credibility standpoint, how the fuck did Kurt talk Shane into breaking up one of his top tag teams and giving him nothing in return?
Right.
He was like, Shane, you got sons? Now I got a son. Come on, help a dad out.
Yeah, I mean, I tweeted that. I was like, who did they get back? And how did Kurt not reveal his secret in the process?
Kurt went to Shane like, dude, it's crazy inside. It's like I'm in a helicopter that's crashing down and there's nothing I can do about it. You know what that feels like, right?
You know what it's like when you don't play Rusev's videos on SmackDown?
But back to Raw for a moment. We had the main event, which I thought they did a really good job of building to the main event, both promoting it last weekend with video packages this week, as Roman Reigns squared off with Samoa Joe for the right to face Brock Lesnar for the championship at SummerSlam. More on Brock later. But it sort of had the ending I think we all predicted going into that, where
shocking finish.
Braun came out, got involved, and I think are we all in agreement this is heading towards the Fatal 4-Way at SummerSlam?
Absolutely.
Better be.
I have my own opinions I don't think it should, but it does look like that's the way it's heading. You know, one thing I will give them credit for is to your point, they did a fantastic job throughout the night. They did the package for Roman. They did the package for Joe. You had that main event fight feel. And even though we all knew what the ending was going to be, it was a great match, man. Oh, yeah. And that crowd loved every second of it, whether they were behind, for Roman or against them. They loved that match.
Right, Smathers?
Yeah. That is a long-term program I can get behind for sure, and I think most people could. Joe and again, and I say this all the time: Joe versus Roman, Roman versus pretty much anybody. You're going to get it. The guy is a very good performer, whether you like him or not. Again, I say what I always say, and I feel like a broken record when I say this every week, but tell me the last bad match you remember Roman Reigns having. Now, I know IWC, I know everybody carries him to a great match.
Everybody.
Yes, eat a dick. But but no, the guy's just a really fucking good performer. I don't think he does well when they hand him lines to recite. He comes across a little wooden, and maybe that's some of people's resentment towards him.
Sylvester the Cat?
Suffering succotash?
Yeah. I think we're a little removed from that stuff. But yeah, but in ring, I have no problems with Roman, and I think he's one of their best guys for sure.
So you sat here, I think it was last week. It was after the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. And you said it in the host thread that
I did not sit in your room last week.
That's true.
Balls.
You were very
balls on fire.
Thank you. You were very adamant that
was creepy.
They did nothing to change Roman into a heel. That what he's been doing since at least the night after WrestleMania. And I was in disagreement with you. I said, no, you can't try to murder someone and then be booked the same way after that. And lo and behold, they're still fucking doing it. He hasn't changed. He's not a full-blown heel. He had heelish comments during the Joe promo, but he's just Roman.
Say it.
Yeah, but you agree with that? I mean,
everybody knows it. Say it. Go ahead.
Yeah, you were right.
Thank you. Okay. Don't you feel better? I feel better.
But you agree with that. I mean, there's been now 2 major opportunities to make him a full-blown heel, and he could draw the most money the company has seen in years.
He's already a heel.
But then why do the babyface comeback in the middle of the match? You know what I mean? Like he wrestles like a face.
Doesn't matter what he wrestles like. So does Cena, but he's a fucking heel. People boo him.
Cena's a heel?
If people boo you, you're a fucking heel. If people hate you, you're a fucking heel.
John Cena's not a heel.
Sure he is.
No, he's not.
He's more of an in-between. He gets a lot.
He stands up for America.
Oh, fucking get me started on that later. We have a couple comments came on the side here. We got Smathers says Enzo to SmackDown Live to feud with Ellsworth, hair versus chin.
Oh.
Then says Strowman got a loud pop.
Wait. Ellsworth's hair versus Enzo's chin? Because
I have no idea.
Because Ellsworth doesn't have a chin to lose.
They'll do a chin transplant if Enzo loses.
He already lost it. Strowman got a loud pop too. It was expected, which tamped it down a bit, but he was definitely over 85% behind Joe during this match. Honestly, Reigns versus Lesnar at WrestleMania was ass until Rollins finished. I liked the match at WrestleMania between Reigns and Lesnar, but
I did too. You know, I don't want to gloss over Braun Strowman's appearance. We all knew it was coming. My only criticism is after a couple minutes, it seems like they almost just included Braun in the match. I was like, wait a minute, is this match thrown out? Like, what is going on here? Because then the commentators were acting completely normal that Braun was there.
Yeah, I don't think the commentators handled that particular thing well. But they, sometimes what they tell them is act like you're confused and you don't know what's going on. And I understand the logic in telling them that. The problem is that their job is to convey to the audience what's going on. And if they don't know, they portray that they don't have a clue what's going on, then the audience doesn't have a clue what's going on. And that's not something you necessarily want.
Right.
Have them not know what's going on before something happens. You don't want to tell them, hey, guess what? Braun's going to come out during this match.
Right.
But once Braun's out there, you have to present to them what that means to them as a viewing audience.
Oh yeah, because they have to convey the right message, and you put your announcers in a bad spot.
Absolutely.
In a situation like that.
Yeah, I mean, you can say, what the hell is he doing here? But then you can explain what the hell he is doing there.
Okay. Can I pick the next topic?
I thought we were going in order now. No? Okay.
Well, this is actually the next one in order anyway.
All right.
This needs to happen because this is where I am going to go on a rant. Okay?
Yay! Popcorn time.
So here's the thing. I have, in the face of great criticism at times on this show, been an unabashed fan and defender of one Mr. Juan Cena. I think he gets shit on, gets blamed for a lot of stuff that isn't his fault, doesn't get credit for what he can do in the ring. What I saw from him this week was below what he should be doing. To go out, and I get that it's a flag match, but to go out and cut such a blatantly pandering promo he's better than that. Cena's a better performer than that. He's capable of pulling off much better than that. He's capable of getting interest in this match without taking that easy shortcut. But to me, when he went to the level of equating his bullshit flag match at a throwaway pay-per-view to fucking 9/11, that to me was over the line, classless, and just really, really, really poor choice by John. I hope
by John.
Well, I don't think John's being handed that line by writers. I really don't. John's not a guy they script very much. He gives.
To your point, that's true. But I hope I mean, maybe he was just maybe they told him to go out there and just be patriotic. I don't know.
Maybe,
I
but
get what
John's
you're
a bullet
saying.
point guy. John's not a guy they script heavily. I can't imagine at this point. But to go out and take the darkest day in the history of the country and use it as a way to try to get over a flag match against Rusev, to me was insulting to the people who lost their lives that day. And it was cheap. It was the lowest common denominator. It was offensive, and honestly, I really hope, to Sal's point, that somebody fed that to him, because I'd like to think that that's not something John thought was okay on his own. But yeah, I personally found that to be a fairly offensive way to try to build up to a fucking flag match. But that's just me.
See, for once, I'm actually going to take what your point usually is, and I don't necessarily blame John. I don't think this feud should be really happening in the first place. As Adam said, a flag match in 2017. But whoever it is, whether it's an agent or Vince himself, telling John, go out there and get this over and do it patriotically. I mean, John probably shouldn't have said that line about 9/11, but if he was spitballing and he was coming up with something on the fly, maybe that's the first thing that came to him.
Then fucking be more creative. You know
what?
Right. You don't go out and use the Holocaust to put over your fucking match, because it's just a line you don't cross. To me, I thought this was just over the line, unnecessary. I don't think it served any purpose. And I feel like and I'm not, you guys can attest to the fact, I'm not the super overly sensitive type. Things don't typically offend me. I just feel like there are a lot of people who lost a lot of people close to them that day. You want to use the Civil War, you want to use all that stuff, the other stuff that he did, that's fine. That's not going to offend people who, nobody lost their wife or their husband or their brother that day that's watching the show right now. I'm not a person who lived in New York. I didn't live through it. Thankfully, I didn't lose anyone close to me in that event. But if I did, and I'm sitting there watching that, it would have made me very, very upset. And I just think it was a poor choice by John.
Absolutely. But this is the same company that really likes to over the top put out the fact that they were the first assembly of a major amount of people after 9/11 when SmackDown went live on Thursday night, whatever it was back then. And they continually talk about it even years later. So in my mind, was John fed that specific line? Probably not. But was he given those parameters? Yeah, probably. And we all know who's given him those parameters.
I think best case scenario, it's a Paul Heyman situation, like when Paul Heyman had to try and get Brock over as a heel in Minnesota, and he went no, and then just do it. But who knows? Who knows? I don't think we'll ever know who came up with that line. And it's absolutely a throwaway match, because even my wife sitting on the couch on Monday went, "Is there any doubt who wins that match?" And I don't think there is.
No, and there's really no point to it. I mean, yeah, I get both guys are coming back, but you couldn't find anything else.
It would have been shitty but acceptable if they did it on July 4th.
Right.
Doing a flag match, it's so fucking dumb.
And I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly right. If they did it on that episode, okay, we get it. It's the 4th. But you're drawing this out, 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later onto Battleground for what purpose? Unless somebody shows up during that match, but I doubt it. I can't see it happening.
Because it's Battleground, and they show their true colors, and Becky Lynch has gears on her face. I've never understood the promos for Battleground with the flags and shit. Anyways,
I understood it last year when you had like Ambrose holding his logo on the flag and Roman holding his and Seth holding his. That made sense. Or when you had the club against Cena and Enzo and Cass, but
Smather says WWE misses out on a mint by not renting out some sort of closed circuit headphones to live audiences so they can listen to the announcers. It's
Yeah,
interesting. It's an interesting idea. I'm not sure how you'd make sure you got all the headphones back at the end of the night.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't know, for anybody who's been to a show, it is already a pain in the ass to get out of the arena at the end of the night. Having a guy standing at the door going, headphones, headphones, headphones.
Like
headphones,
a movie
headphones,
theater, but with,
headphones.
with 30,000 people.
Right.
All right, let's move on from Cena being offensive. Because it's true. It's damn true.
So, over on
on the list, if you look at the list, there is a topic that is next. I would like you to discuss that.
Yeah, I was fucking getting to it, pal. To open Monday Night Raw this week, we had Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. I enjoyed the story that the two of them told in the ring. I thought the attack at the end was a bit not choreographed. What's the word I'm looking for? Foreshadowed,
right?
Especially when Dean threw the chair out of the ring. But I liked what they did there with Seth trying to make his amends and saying to Dean, "You want to fucking hit me? Fucking hit me. Beat the shit out of me if it makes you feel better."
Right.
I don't know if Jason's going to disagree with me on this. I'm imagining he is. But I'm going to say that Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose have done some of their best work in the WWE with each other. Whether it was Hell in the Cell or whether it was the ladder match when they both came down with the belt at the same time. I love when these two barb on the mic and go at each other because it feels much better than when Seth's trying to fight with Bray Wyatt. It feels much more real. And it gives Dean something to sink his teeth into where he was fighting with The Miz, it was just boring and on repeat.
Yeah.
What you got, pal?
Oh, nothing. Just stuff going on related to our announcement later. Anyway, they work well together. By and large, there's a great obvious comfort level between the two of them. I'm actually enjoying this particular thing that they're doing with them right now, where Seth's trying to sort of make amends with Dean, and Dean's not really having it, and there's sort of like now an uneasy alliance between the two.
Like you mentioned last week, they're teasing that Ambrose heel turn, and I think that would really help things a lot.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that's needed sooner rather than later. But overall, yeah, Sal, I would actually tend to agree with your point that they're both at their best when they're with each other.
I mean, you feel the conviction. Seth's like, dude, that was 3 fucking years ago, man. Either let it go or just hit me with the chair.
Yep.
And Dean's like, fuck you. I'm not going to trust you, dude. You're not my brother. Fuck you. You're not my brother. So, and then you throw in Miz, and the people who benefit the most out of this have to be Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas. You're now getting put in there with main eventers where you weren't on TV for months.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of hope they develop each of them like a little bit more, but we'll see where it goes. And I got to think that Rollins is going to be the next one to step into that IC title picture, right?
That's certainly what it looks like. And
yeah, we touched on that last week.
Yeah, anything that's not Ambrose versus Miz at this point.
But what does Ambrose do though? What does he move on to? I mean, if they're doing a heel turn situation, he can, I don't know, do something with the Miz Taraj. Jason's left, by the way, but we'll get back to him in a moment. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it last week. I mean, anything other than Ambrose and Miz at this point would be a welcome change to the Intercontinental title picture.
If you want to put Rollins in this picture, and obviously Dean's not happy that Rollins is sticking himself in this picture, you could segue into Ambrose's heel turn, and then maybe he costs Rollins the match. And then, after that, Miz still does need, a real opponent, which if you're me, you're bringing over Ty Dillinger from SmackDown. I'm just saying that feud's already there.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to transition into a Rollins Miz Intercontinental picture for one match, though.
No, but what's the other idea is that with SummerSlam coming up, you have Seth and Dean reluctantly team up against the Miztourage. Could work. I don't know if that's really where you want to put these guys at SummerSlam, because then once again the Intercontinental title is not even going to be defended.
Is there a Raw pay-per-view between?
This is it, man.
Between now and SummerSlam? No, okay.
That's why the number one contender for Brock's title is for the match at SummerSlam. So
I don't know why I thought Raw.
As far as Raw,
this is a Raw pay-per-view.
As far as Raw, we're on the road to SummerSlam at this point. So you got to think that these guys are going to be jockeying for position to get some meaningful time on that card.
Yeah.
Smathers is still really stuck on this whole headphones thing. He says, in the modern era, how about broadcasting in the arena to your phone and you can use your own earbuds via the WWE app?
Listen, Smathers, we
I
get
don't
it.
know how many people are bringing headphones to Monday Night Raw, first off. Sure, some of them are, but I'm guessing it's not a huge number.
Sell them at the merch table.
Second off, how do you limit the WWE app to just broadcasting inside the building and not to everyone else? Like, I don't know. He says 10 minutes ago I sent that. I know I was just setting something up, so, I'm just getting caught up now. Give me a break. I can't be all things to all people at all times, Smathers. Give me a break. I'm just doing the best I can. I'm just a man, okay?
Listen, obviously Smathers is a little salted
It's a little demanding.
because he didn't get to hear Booker T's amazing commentary this week. So
Right?
That's why he's demanding headphones. He wants to hear, what the hell?
Do you know I had a dream where you died? I just realized
Hulk Hogan, we coming for you.
Okay.
I have a huge hole in my shirt. Anyway,
we haven't gotten to the match yet, but as we're speaking of horrible commentary, allow me to simply say that this week, during the Killian Dane versus Drew McIntyre match, Percy Watson uttered the phrase, "Wow, Drew McIntyre really wants to win this match." Bear in mind, this was a number one contenders match for the shot at the championship in Brooklyn.
the absolute worst.
Thanks, Percy.
Interesting that
there was something else that he said, I think, during the entrances for that match, and it was so mind blowing. I don't remember what it was now, but I literally was just like, "What?"
There has to be a Facebook page of stupid shit Percy Watson has said, or a website somewhere. It has to be.
Kogos, back in the day, Kogos, Sean, and I had a website of all the times Lillian Garcia screwed up when she debuted on Monday Night Raw.
That's
It's long gone at this point, but
her dad died.
I thought he didn't. Well,
that
never
wasn't
mind.
caused by the web page.
You never know. Just saying.
You guys got to have that announcer's ear because, honest to God, I watched that main event and I did not hear one fucking word Percy Watson said.
Well, he doesn't say many of them.
That's for the best.
I think I've trained myself to just listen to Mauro and Nigel. I don't pay attention to Percy.
I was going to make a Linkin Park joke, but I think I'll skip it.
Oh, God. And then you criticize other people when they make jokes about suicide on this show.
I have never done that.
Oh, no? Oh, there's a video of you gasping in disbelief when Sean included Daniel Benoit in his poem, in his Christmas poem.
Gasping in disbelief is not criticism.
I don't feel like this is at all productive or conducive to the discussion we're having.
That's a good point.
Sorry, Percy Watson should commit suicide is what we're saying. Anyway.
Don't fucking joke about suicide, Adam.
Jokes are funny.
In all seriousness, it's not really cool. Like, especially when famous person just killed themselves today. It's not funny. Like, we shouldn't make jokes about it. But
no, we shouldn't quote his song lyrics or anything like that.
I know what you're talking about.
Anyway,
and a clean edit point.
Jason, you had a.
Smather says Adam is just upset he won't have the chance to forget to ring the bell in tribute to Chester from Fenway Park.
That's not right. Jason, you had missed our discussion of where the Intercontinental title picture goes right now, especially heading into SummerSlam.
Seth.
But what about Dean?
I think Dean's had enough shots.
I would agree, but they're intertwining Dean into this whole thing right now.
It could be a 3-on-1. Maybe it's the fucking Shield reunion. Maybe Roman's not in the main event. Maybe it's the Shield versus the Miz Taraj.
Except for Dean and Seth would go up to Roman and be like, "Hey, you wanna do the Shield reunion thing?" And he'd be like, "Nah, bruh. I'm gonna go fight for the Universal title."
Truthfully, though, it's not a big enough program to bring the Shield back for that. If you're gonna do the reunion, it's got to be something bigger than the Miz Taraj. So,
well, it was supposed to be the club, but they're never on the same show. So,
3 of them are, and 3 of them are on Raw. So,
if you did Finn with.
That would be the third, yes.
That's what he's talking about.
No, but It was supposed to be AJ. But I get it. I get what he's saying. Could you do a Miz heel? I mean, Miz. Could you do an Ambrose heel turn at SummerSlam? Maybe they do a 2-on-3 handicap match, and Ambrose turns on.
We literally talked about that like 2 minutes ago, right, Adam?
Like he's trying to catch you up because you walked away.
I'm not stroking out, right? We legitimately discussed the Ambrose heel turn like 2 minutes ago. Yes, that's what needs to happen. Can I see it happening at SummerSlam? Sure, absolutely.
That's where I was trying to go with that.
Anywho.
But, once Seth wins the Intercontinental title, Dean will have to turn heel to get more shots at the Intercontinental title.
That's all I'm saying. Seth versus Dean for the Intercontinental Championship.
Because what are we going to do with the Intercontinental title if Dean Ambrose isn't fighting for it?
It's a mystery. It's a mystery and a quandary. It's a quistry.
Evolution's a mystery too.
Smathers says, in case you were wondering and you weren't, R-Truth beat Hawkins. I wonder if Smathers wanted headphones to block out R-Truth's singing. And the club beat Slino. He got me to say Slino. God damn it.
Victory.
Slater and Rhino in the quote main event matches before the show. No after show action. Well, I feel bad that Smathers didn't get any after show action since he told us he was going with his fiance, but
sometimes you just got to think about 14-year-olds and do it yourself.
Talk about edit points. Jesus.
Dude, I'm just gonna point out when this dude over here goes, just think about what you've done. Matt Riley on the side says turn it into a triple threat between Ambrose, Rollins, and The Miz. I suppose that's possible. You could do that. That's one way to get around to where you want to get.
Because Ambrose needs more IC title shots.
Is there really a specific reason why Bo Dallas is dressing like a reject from, a cover band?
He's Lieutenant Dan with his legs.
And Curtis Axel looks like he's from the Mad Men show. Like I don't get their outfits. I'm glad they're on TV, but.
Smathers says, we were tired. I assume by we, he means she was tired.
Yeah, exactly.
And Adam can Fandango fuck himself. Okay. So there you go.
There we go.
All right. So we got a little block of topics along a similar thread here. So let's just bang these out. No pun intended. As we discuss about the use of the women in the WWE this week. Let's start with
women's wrestling.
Let's start with where we began, and that is on Monday Night Raw, where once again,
your favorite thing happened.
My absolute favorite thing. The champion of a division was pinned clean in the center of the ring as Bayley took out Alexa Bliss in a match, which just pretty much
that's really got to put Bayley in line for a title shot down the line.
Okay, so allow me to say this. There was some great stuff centering around this match. I don't know if you caught this, but Bayley comes out and at some point sees a kid in the audience who's apparently freaking out for her, goes over and gives this little boy, her shirt. This little boy proceeds to bawl like a baby, okay? So excited, so happy. Then Alexa Bliss comes out, walks by the kid, and does the pantomime crying thing, mocking this child. And this is why Alexa Bliss is the fucking best. That is improv on a level that not a lot of people get to. To think on her feet, to come up with that quickly, it just displays to you why she's so good.
She absolutely is. As far as her being a heel, it's probably one of the best in the business right now for the women. Now, as far as her getting pinned by Bailey, I don't have as big a problem.
2 weeks in a row, Sal. 2 fucking weeks in a row.
Who's the champ, Jason? She's still the champ. She's a heel. Heels lose.
No. Champions shouldn't lose.
What are you gonna take? You gonna make Nia take a pin 2 weeks in a row?
Sure. I don't fuck about Nia.
Nia's about 9 feet tall and 400 pounds. Ain't nobody pinning her.
Really? Did she win the elimination match at WrestleMania?
No, she did not. But it took 3 people to get her down.
Didn't fucking matter. You told a story. You beat her. You could have her counted out. There's a million ways you could do it and keep her strong. Million ways. What you can't do is keep a champion strong if they're getting constantly fucking pinned. And you know what? For you to sit here and tell me this fucking story after months and months on end, I listened to you bitch about the way they fucking booked Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens while they were the champions is a little bit crazy to hear you saying that.
Alexa Bliss is Teflon. She is going to go out there and get just as much reaction as she does, whether she gets pinned by Bailey or not.
Wait, so Alexa Bliss is Teflon, but Kevin Owens isn't.
Kevin Owens losing to Goldberg in 120 seconds does a lot to diminish his role.
No, you were on that rant before fucking Goldberg.
True. Because Jericho was helping him every 5 seconds.
And Nia hasn't been helping Alexa?
She didn't help her on Monday.
Go ahead, you can say it again. Everyone knows it. Everybody watching has seen it now. Go ahead, say it again.
I don't have a bigger problem that you have with Bailey pinning Alexa. Bailey's a former champion, man. This isn't making somebody a contender by having them pin the champion. Bailey's already been champion.
Yeah, this was the same woman that Alexa beat the shit out of in 5 minutes at Extreme Rules.
That's their fault. And now you have a vehicle to get you to Bailey versus Sasha next week, which should be a fucking great match.
And this bipolar booking of Bailey. Listen, either she's a threat or she's not. We're burying her or we're bringing her up.
It's the Cesaro syndrome where
pick a fucking direction with this character and do something with it or drop it. Because I can't take her fucking seriously the way you've booked her at this point.
But
as great as she is. You've told me that she can't hang with Alexa until she beats Alexa in a tag match. Now all of a sudden she's the equal of Alexa. I don't fucking know what this girl is anymore.
I think they call that 50-50 booking.
But they don't do that with other people. They don't. There's a difference between 50. Now Charlotte and Sasha have been 50-50. But Charlotte and Sasha were booked in such a way that you were led to believe that they were just so evenly matched that on any given night one could beat the other.
Sure.
Bailey was
on any given Monday, Sasha could beat Charlotte, but on any given pay-per-view, Charlotte could beat Sasha.
Exactly.
Bailey was booked to be completely dominated by Alexa Bliss for a good string of time. And then she's stolen a couple wins in tag matches or when Sasha comes out and saves her. That's not exactly the same as 50-50 booking. On the one-loss record, perhaps I get your point, but the way you book it is way more important than the result.
Aside from the 50-50 booking, what they have done with a number of talents that I am fans of, people like Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens and Cesaro, is they do this start-stop booking where 1 minute they're pushing you, then they're pulling you back and you're losing every week, and then you're off TV, and then they're pushing you again. And I don't know if it's Vince's way of just keeping people fresh or if he just doesn't know what he's doing from week to week.
See, here's the difference, though. To me, at least, those characters are strong enough that they're not necessarily as damaged by something like that. The Bailey character is a very fragile character. It depends a lot on the young children being able to buy into her as a role model, as somebody they can look up to. If she's not treated as she goes out there and acts goofy and acts like a child, and that works if she's winning. But once you start acting like that and you're constantly losing, all of a sudden people go, just fucking dumb. So I'm not going to get behind that.
But haven't we always compared her to she's the female Sami Zayn? She can go out there and she can lose, and she'll be the lovable loser.
No, because they're not giving her the... Sami Zayn goes out there and puts on great matches,
True.
Is given the canvas to put on great matches, and is portrayed in a way where he almost wins, and then just somehow chicanery happens and he loses at the end. Bayley has been fucking dominated lately. I don't want to say buried because I don't necessarily think it applies. The pay-per-view match at Extreme Rules, it looked like a burial. I'm not going to lie, but I hate to consider it that way because, as you see, you can go very quickly from being buried to being elevated. But the problem is, when you do it with that Bayley character, I think you really damage the character to the point where you're going to get to a section where it doesn't work anymore. And Bayley needs to play to the crowd she plays to for that character to have any impact.
I agree with that. I will say that I'd rather have Bayley win every once in a while than have her lose week after week. So
sure.
Maybe Alexa's not the person that she should have beat, but I don't think it hurts Alexa.
Then go out and have Bayley pin Nia on Raw. Yeah. That's impressive. That makes me feel better about the redemption of Bayley, and you do it without her beating the champion. Now, here's my other problem with what we saw on Monday Night Raw, because they made a match for next week.
Yes.
So the first time on the main roster, we're getting the epic Bayley versus Sasha match. It's not for the title. It's not at a pay-per-view. It's at a random Raw to see who gets another shot. And all things being equal, the way it appears to me is that Nia's going to come out and we're going to have another Fatal 4-Way at SummerSlam. So they're basically booking the women in the exact same match, in the exact same program. They just booked the men last week on Raw.
Equal rights.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope they book something more creative out of this, but I thought this...
They have been booking Nia and Braun very similarly since Royal Rumble.
It's the same program they booked the women in leading into that 4-way elimination match you mentioned earlier at the pay-per-view that I can't remember which one it was.
I think
but the difference is, I think we've all agreed that the real money they have left in that division is the Bayley versus Sasha program. To have this...
but I don't consider one match on Raw that's going to get interrupted by Nia a program. I'm waiting for one of them to turn heel. Why
fucking show it? Why give it away? Why show it to us? Keep it fucking special. Don't fucking blow your wad before you... Don't come before you've started jerking off.
That's good advice to follow in all aspects of life.
Absolutely. If you put Bayley versus Sasha at, let's say...
All right, hold on. Let me just say this. I didn't want a Great Balls of Fire. From the beginning, what I have said is you do the Sasha heel turn, you keep the title on Bayley, and you take SummerSlam in Brooklyn, in the same building they told the amazing story 2 years ago, and the story fucking writes itself. It's right there in front of you. Instead, 3, 4, whatever it is, weeks before we get to SummerSlam, we're going to put them in a throwaway match, face on face, best buddies, going for the title shot at SummerSlam on Monday Night Raw.
Now,
sure, it's going to be a good match, but that doesn't mean it's creatively smart. It doesn't mean you're not leaving money on the table in terms of what you can do with this program. That's my problem with it.
How many matches do you think will be at SummerSlam this year?
Oh, I have no idea.
Probably, I would say 10, maybe even 11.
Sure.
And we've known that SummerSlam and WrestleMania have, at this point, gone to 11:30, 11:45, 12 o'clock.
Yep.
You really want Sasha versus Bayley in a 4-minute match? Because they're the ones that would get their time cut left and right.
Oh, I don't believe that.
When you look at who would be on that card for SummerSlam and the amount of time they're going to give the people like Brock, the people like Randy, the people like John.
I'm sorry, how long have Brock's matches gone of late?
If he's going to be in a Fatal 4-Way, that's not going to be a 4-minute match.
How long did it go at SummerSlam last year with Randy Orton?
On a good 13 minutes, I think, 15 minutes.
Before Randy got busted open and they stopped the
No,
match?
I'm talking about the whole. I mean, when we're talking about a segment, we're talking about entrance to, when they go off the air.
No, I'm talking about the match. The match itself.
The match itself was probably about 12 minutes.
I go back. I would think that's overselling it a little bit. Lesnar and
Goldberg was like 7 or 6, something like that.
Okay. Lesnar and Joe at the last pay-per-view. He doesn't fucking have long matches, dude. His is the one match you don't need to worry about taking time from.
But you've seen it at WrestleMania. They did it this year. They cut from the lower card. They don't cut from the top. So if you put Bayley and Sasha at SummerSlam, you tell me they're not going to get cut.
That's a top card match. That is a top card match when you build it that way.
I don't think Vince sees it like that. I think he still sees. Look, when you look at how the women were treated at WrestleMania, they were forced into a multi-person match just to get them all on the card.
The SmackDown women, the Raw women were given a prominent spot on the show and given an elimination match where there had to be 3 different falls for the match to end. Not a single one fall, go out and do it quick. The SmackDown women did get that treatment, absolutely. The Raw women did not. The Raw women got the respect of a nice, good intros. Charlotte got a fireworks display behind her. You got an elimination match with 3 different pinfalls or submissions occurring. You got good time in that match. The Raw women have gotten Hell in a Cell. The Raw women have main evented pay-per-views. They do not shortchange the women's match on Raw.
Well, yeah, when it involves Charlotte.
Or anybody else.
Now, to your point, if Alexa Bliss is what they consider the one on Raw, then a Sasha Bayley match is just another match, right?
No. Alexa, I love Alexa. I'm a huge fan of Alexa. Alexa's not on that level in the ring, and I think we all know it.
No, but as far as in terms of what they're going to put on at SummerSlam, Alexa's going to be featured. She's going to be in a prominent match, and maybe that's why Sasha and Bayley just don't fit into this year as far as that goes.
Alexa doesn't. My point was to say Alexa doesn't need to be in the prominent spot on this show. My point was to say Sasha or Bayley probably should be carrying the belt into this pay-per-view. You can have it on Alexa and then have Bayley beat her at this pay-per-view. Fine, I have no problem with that. The last pay-per-view they did. And Bayley carries the belt. Sasha helps her win it. And then Sasha turns on her. But this was the event. This was the pay-per-view. SummerSlam in Brooklyn. This is where you tell that story. And to not do it is a huge miss for what they could have done.
It goes back to who's the one running it. Because if Triple H was booking SummerSlam, he probably would do exactly what you said. But I don't think Vince sees that as a money match, as something that's going to draw. And that's to his detriment. I agree with you. I think Bayley and Sasha are great. But
it's not about being great. This is... People forget sometimes, I think, and fans do it too, and it's easy to fucking do it. This isn't UFC. This isn't where you put Conor McGregor in a match with fucking Nate Diaz and hope he can deliver. You script this. You can tell us whatever story you want, but if you're watching, I don't know, pick a fucking show, Game of Thrones, I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter, and they have the opportunity to tell you the perfect fucking story, and it's in the right setting, and it's been building, and it makes sense, and it's logical, and it ties everything they did before together. And instead, they go in a completely fucking different direction that makes no real sense and doesn't serve any long-term purpose and has no backstory to it. It's just bad writing. They have the opportunity to write an epic story with these two girls.
Bad writing or bad direction?
Both. Sure. Either way.
Because I'm not blaming the writers for that.
They're choosing not to tell us the epic story they could tell us. And that's what's frustrating for me.
I get that. I get the frustration. I have been frustrated by how Vince runs his company for years. So at this point, I'm slowly not getting immune to it, but it's almost I've come to expect it. I don't expect him to give me AJ and Shinsuke because it's what I want, and I know that's not what he wants. And it's the same thing with Bailey and Sasha.
I disagree. And we'll get to it later, but I think that's coming actually probably sooner than I think.
But will it come at SummerSlam, or was it going to be shoved to friggin' Night of Champions or something like that? You know,
I think it might be held off till WrestleMania, but we'll see.
I have no faith in Vince anymore. Anything Vince does, I just roll my eyes at.
I think we've exhausted this particular topic. I don't want to kill it the rest of the show at the expense of this one topic, but suffice it to say, I don't like the way they've booked the women leading into SummerSlam.
Well, yeah, that I would agree with.
At least on Raw. Because the way they booked the women on SmackDown, #segue, this week was interesting because we flat out fucking came out live on SmackDown and said, we don't fucking know what to do with Naomi, so you're just not on the pay-per-view. So you can sit in the back and turn the lights off and watch your belt glow for the entire night because you're fucking pay-per-view. Who needs a championship? When we can have another multi-women match to determine who gets a shot at the title. Sort of like we did at the last pay-per-view. And
sort of
SmackDown. Because we are going to have the 5 women who are not named Carmella or Naomi competing for the #1 contender spot in a 5-way. It's an elimination match. Is that what they said?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. But in order to get to that point, we got an argument backstage because, bitches be crazy about who was going to fight this week on SmackDown. Only to find out that it was Charlotte and Becky because Charlotte thinks she's so much better than Becky. Because, again, bitches be crazy.
Another great story going into SmackDown is, I guess we got to do something with you. Who wants to fight? You guys want to? Who wants to fight?
Right.
Nobody's fighting Lana.
Yeah. Do we think Tamina has like a lesbian crush on Lana? Is this what's going on? Because I'd be down for that program.
Either that or she's paying her.
Could be. I don't know. But in any event,
could be both.
True.
You sent Becky and Charlotte out there. They had, I thought, it was a really good match.
Yeah.
Ryback, not a particular fan. I don't know if you saw any of that footage of Ryback watching the match, and then as Charlotte climbed the ropes to do her moonsault, yelling, "Shake your ass, Charlotte! That's what they want to see. Shake your ass." So
I pay as little attention to Ryback as possible at this point.
I didn't know about that. I'm kind of glad I didn't.
Yeah, he's a tool. But in any event, they put on a great match, and I particularly loved the fact that they had Becky go over on Charlotte. I thought that was really good and legitimizes Becky because I think she's always kind of been I want to say the 4th of the big 4, the 4 horsewomen, if you will. I think Becky's kind of the one people.
She's been the afterthought, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think just if you were to rank them 1 through 4, she'd be the one a lot of people would put 4th. Because I don't think she has the same charisma that some of the other ones have.
Somebody has to be the worst best.
But I like that they had Charlotte tap. It makes her more legitimate as a, vulnerable, I should say. And I really do think that tells me Charlotte's probably winning at the pay-per-view. We'll get to predictions later, but I think the way they booked that match was done for a very specific reason, and we'll probably get Charlotte and Naomi at SummerSlam. With Charlotte winning the title and Carmella cashing in on her.
Something, law of reverse momentum.
So the way they've booked the Raw women is questionable at best, but the way they've booked the SmackDown women pretty much since WrestleMania has really pissed me off. Here's your fucking champion. She's everything you want her to be. She's over with the kids. She's got an awesome entrance. Her merch is selling.
What's that?
She's what Bailey should be.
Right. And you don't have anything for her for 3 straight fucking pay-per-views. And I'm sorry, but Lana's not something for her. You're telling me you couldn't pluck any one of the women out of this multi-women match, like a Natalya, and cook her up and have a legitimate feud with Naomi?
First off, I would say where I would disagree is that I think going into Money in the Bank, one of the more anticipated matches was Lana and Naomi. Whether it's for the train wreck factor, the I don't know what she can do factor, whatever it is, I do think there was anticipation surrounding that match and seeing it. So I don't think that's a failure. I think that was a way to put Lana into a spot where people would have to take her to a certain degree seriously where they wouldn't have before. They used it as a vehicle to have her go out and have a good showing and kind of vault her into, hey, this is actually a girl that you should take seriously when we book her going forward. So I don't have necessarily as big a problem with that. I do very much dislike the fact that they don't have anything for the champion on this pay-per-view. To me, you can't tell us that the contender is more important than the champion, and that's what you're doing here. But this is also the same brand that did almost the same thing to American Alpha, that did almost, I mean, this is what they do on SmackDown. They don't value their champions as much as they should.
It's very confusing, and to your point, it's very frustrating because I love Lana. Lana, to me, and I was looking forward to her debut. To throw her in a match with the women's champion didn't make any sense to me because Lana didn't earn it. Lana wasn't on that level. And really, it's been nothing but Naomi squashing her 3 times in a row. Now you get to the point where you're a month before SummerSlam and you don't have anything for Naomi, so you're going to keep her off the show other than Carmella waving the briefcase in her face. If you're going to do Carmella, if you're going to do Naomi and Charlotte at SummerSlam, I'm fine with that. But
by the way, why the fuck is Carmella waving the briefcase in her face? It's not like she's going to cash in after her match at the pay-per-view because she doesn't fucking have one.
Well, maybe she takes a page out of Adam's book and does the Baron Corbin and hits her backstage in catering and gets a ref.
I don't think it works that way.
But that's what
Adam...
It's not a 24/7 title.
Should be. It should be.
But
do you know how much more interesting that would make it?
Two women who I did very much enjoy the way they were booked this week were on the NXT brand, where we had Ember Moon and Ruby Riott have what I thought was a
great match. Great match.
Physical, hard-hitting, good storytelling, good. Everything was crisp. The facials were great. Everything these girls did worked tremendously, and I thought they didn't officially say it was a #1 contenders match, I don't think, but I'm pretty sure we all know it was supposed to be.
Based on the promo last week.
And Ember Moon, it looks like, is going to the SummerSlam weekend in Brooklyn to challenge Asuka again, and I'm excited they're finally getting there. And at this point, I think you got to do the switch.
I would hope so
when we do predictions. But this was a hell of a match coming off a couple weeks ago, that Nikki Cross Asuka match. And NXT is starting to really get the women right again.
It's always been NXT's forte. They know how to book their women's division. And maybe that's a credit to Triple H. Maybe it's a credit to Stephanie McMahon. Maybe it's a credit to the performance in the ring. But I agree with you. Ember Moon and Ruby Riott put on a fucking clinic this week. And it was great to see. And I think the right person won. And I think you need to now book that Ember Moon versus Asuka rematch. Give me 20 minutes at a takeover in Brooklyn. I'd love it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can tell that Ember Moon story, that she was the one, she came back from injury. And even though she lost to Asuka at WrestleMania weekend, she came back at SummerSlam weekend and won the title. She ended the epic reign of Asuka, and then Asuka can go to Raw.
And then Carmella comes out and cashes in on Ember Moon and takes the one title she never got a shot at.
Yeah, sure, I'd book it.
If you can do it in catering, you should be able to do it at NXT. I'm just saying.
That's a good point.
Seth Rollins showed up at NXT.
There you go.
There you go. Adam, your thoughts on Ember Moon and Ruby Riott?
Like I said, it was absolutely gorgeous. Fantastic match. Just, everything you said, that perfect story, perfect work. The whole thing was just a thing of beauty. If you haven't seen it, go on the network, watch this match. I would say absolutely match of the night for NXT last night.
I like how it told a completely different story than what Asuka and Nikki Cross did.
Yep.
Two completely different styles. This was a much more mat-based chain wrestling type of match, back and forth, kind of that indie style. Whereas 2 weeks ago, Asuka and Nikki Cross tore it up in a hardcore format. It shows the diversity, and NXT women's division is in good hands with people like Ruby Riott and Nikki Cross and Ember Moon and whoever else they can pluck from the Mae Young Classic.
I don't think you can really call it plucking if they all work for NXT anyways.
Well, no, I don't think a lot of them are signed. I don't know how many of them are signed, actually, but
We talked about that last week. Anyway.
So let's go to the weekly segment that I like to call Adam tells us why he loves Breezango. So this week's Fashion Files, Adam, what were your thoughts?
More great stuff on the billboard, on the bulletin board, of course. I thought.
What was your favorite thing from the bulletin board? Because I know what mine was.
Oh boy, I didn't write any of them down this week. So
Okay, my favorite one was, if you look, there's a picture of Scotty Too Hottie with a string going from his picture right to the boogeyman's mouth.
Oh, I didn't even see the string.
Because of the worm.
Yes. I didn't even see the string. I just saw the picture of Scotty Too Hottie.
Fucking genius. The part with Aiden English was kind of a bit of a groan, but I love everything that they do, man.
All right.
Who we're going to talk about who we think destroyed their office when we get to the predictions?
We can do that, sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of things a lot of people didn't necessarily love, SmackDown opens this week with Randy Orton and Jinder Mahal having another promo, except this time inside the Punjabi prison. And I have to ask Adam and Sal, did seeing this dangerous maniacal structure make you more pumped for this match Sunday night at the pay-per-view?
No.
I liked it. I'm not going to lie. I liked the promo.
Okay. My take, the thing
Wait, that's not the question he asked. Did seeing the prison make you want to watch the match more?
Sure.
Okay.
Because
certainly what they were going for.
I have not seen either of the prior two Punjabi prison matches.
Consider yourself lucky.
So I had not actually seen the structure before.
Have you seen the Kennel from Hell match?
I did see it.
It's very, very similar to that.
Just with less dog shit.
Yes, but not by much.
Well, it's Jinder.
Weren't there two dogs fucking in there too?
I think so, yes.
My problem with the promo is, and I talked about this, and I was effusive in my praise for Randy Orton last week because he seemed engaged and excited. And when he's on like that, I don't think there are a whole lot of people better. I thought this week he took a step back. I thought he was back to boring, monotonous, just monotone Randy Orton cutting the same promo, climbing the cage, and I'm going to talk like this because I am really I'm crazy. I got crazy eyes and I'm a viper and I'm going to take you out. And I'm good. Like, it doesn't do it. I like Randy Orton when he's excited, when he's pissed off, like he was last week. And the fact that seeing the cage didn't get him to that place if he was already there last week, I thought took away from it for me. And I've been a fan of Jinder, and you can attest to that, Adam. I was one of the people that liked that they put the title on Jinder.
Mm-hmm.
Jinder needs to alter his promo style because it's the same cadence, it's the same promo, it's the same thing.
Same open, it's the same.
Week.
It's become very monotonous. And
I did laugh when one of the Singh brothers explained the rules of the match, with the doors and the 60 seconds and the whatnot. And then Jinder Mahal goes, "There are no rules." Like, right. You told us the fucking rules.
Yes. Bit of a.
No, I think I enjoyed that segment. I think they did a good job of trying to sell how damaging this match can be, how damaging the structure can be. I don't think any of that is actually real bamboo, except for the little pieces they tied to the outside. But what are you gonna do?
Speaking of dangerous and crazy, Elias Sampson and Finn Balor this week on Monday Night Raw. What'd you think of that one, guys?
You really think that wasn't a gimmick guitar? Because, it didn't even have any strings from what I saw.
He played it. He
played the song, dude.
But when he exploded it over his head, it looked like a different friggin', I don't know, maybe it was just the angle they shot the camera with. But
it was not a gimmick guitar.
But a real guitar explodes like that? Like, just everywhere?
Yeah.
Well, then they were being reckless.
To me, it seemed to not use a gimmick guitar, to have him hit him the way he hit him. And that may have just been Samson screwing up. I don't know. But to do that with a guy who you just had lost for an extended period of time with a concussion seemed just sort of reckless to me.
Yeah.
Sure, it popped the crowd, but you saw it did damage to Balor. It busted him open pretty good. Could have been a lot worse. Seems like he's okay. He'll be ready to go. But just seems like on the unnecessary risk for what was a very small reward. So
Right.
the end game being that next week they face off in a no DQ match. I think there were a million ways to get there where you didn't risk serious injury to Finn Balor.
Think of the splinters, pal.
Or simply just gimmick the guitar, and I don't think there would have been any problems.
Yeah.
It's weird. Usually they go the other way. Usually they're not
play a
reckless.
gimmicked guitar, though?
Probably not.
Probably not. No, probably not.
Because isn't one of the big things removing the strings?
Usually they go the other way.
Because I know Jeff Jarrett's guitar never had strings in it.
Mm.
But then again, following that match, we saw what, to the delight of a lot of people, seems to be the beginning of the much anticipated Bray Wyatt Finn Balor story. And one has to think that the fact that they're seemingly ending the Elias Sampson program next week leads to Wyatt and Balor at SummerSlam, I would assume, with the return of the Demon King.
Thank God, because this is a feud that, and I'm glad they saved it for SummerSlam, but this is a feud that really could do wonders for Finn and Bray. Both really haven't done anything since WrestleMania. They've kind of been floundering. I don't think anybody would look at the Rollins Wyatt
House of Horrors, dude.
Ugh. I don't think anybody's looking at the Rollins Wyatt feud as a feud of the year or anything special.
Ghost Tractor. Sorry,
that's right. I appreciate what Finn Balor did for Elias Sampson. I think that kind of puts his stock up a little bit. But Finn versus Bray is a story that is actually I'm excited for. I want to see where this goes, and I hope to God we do get the Demon character at SummerSlam.
I think you'd have to. This has got to be
yeah.
a way to bring it out. All right, see, we're getting down to the end of our list here. The main event from NXT this week, Killian Dane and Drew McIntyre. In what I thought was actually a really good match. I thought Dane lost the match. Obviously, McIntyre is going to go on to Brooklyn to challenge Bobby Roode for the championship. But I thought they made Killian Dane really look like a beast. And McIntyre really made Dane look like $1 million.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to make Adam giggle again because when I say the facials of Drew McIntyre as Dane sat up after that first Claymore.
Kicked out of the Future Shock at 1.
Yeah, what did you think about that? You so seldomly see anybody kick out of a finisher at 1 in the main event. I was kind of taken aback by that.
When you're trying to put a guy over as a beast and as a monster, that's what you do. They did it with Strowman too.
That was a great ending sequence. I did appreciate him having to hit the second Claymore kick, and with Dane kind of going, "Come on, bring it, bitch!" Like, I think obviously the right person won. So
I thought it felt a little abrupt in that it was Claymore 2 count, Claymore 3 count, but yeah, the taunting between was the whole thing was great.
And those two work great together. They've worked in the British Indies for a long time.
And there was a shave your back chant. So
no. I looked at Drew McIntyre during this episode of NXT, and I'm looking at him like, this guy, not only is he the next NXT champion, and Vince has always loved him, except for when he put him in 3MB. He's got to be a future mainstay on the main roster someplace soon, right?
I would hope.
You would think. Yeah. I imagine he's probably going to be the guy that's going to end Bobby Roode's run, and then Bobby will come up probably the night after SummerSlam on Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Speaking of guys who have recently made a return, the Hardys and the Revival both had a match on Raw, and the Revival beat them clean.
Yes, they did.
Can we back up to NXT for 1 second?
Sure.
I want to call him Biff Busick, but that's not his name now. Orny Loken and
Danny Burch.
Danny Burch. That was a great match.
Everything I think everything on NXT was really good this week. They did a great job on NXT this week.
It was a very good, very hard hitting match. It was perfect type of match. I still never figured out where Danny Burch got busted open.
Yeah,
right.
Like, all of a sudden he was bleeding. The thing to me that I took from that match in watching it is that on a show where there's a serious lack of tag teams, Burch and Lorcan would make a great tag team.
They would?
Maybe that's where they're going.
And
you had that little show of respect at the end.
They've got sort of a similar style, hard-nosed, European strong style, what they call it, British strong style kind of deal. I mean, he's not, obviously Biff's not British, but wrestles a very similar kind of style to Danny Burch, and I think you can make some money with them as a hard-nosed,
Sure.
tag team.
Sure.
Obviously, the actual team of British Strong Style isn't going to be popping up in NXT anytime soon because Pete Dunne and Trent Seven and Tyler Bate who are a 3-man group called British Strong Style in other promotions.
Oh, there you go. I didn't know that.
Yeah, over in I think Progress. That's their whole deal. But obviously they're not going to be teaming up on NXT anytime soon. Although we really haven't seen since the last takeover, I think, much of Pete Dunne at all.
Anything?
No, we haven't seen anything from any of the UK guys since that match.
That show
since they stole the show.
Network.
Well, they've been talking about doing the show, the UK show. I don't know, maybe if they're trying to prep for that or
at the last takeover, and now we've heard nothing since then.
The only thing I can assume is they didn't get the deal they wanted, or they didn't get the arena they wanted, and they're still in negotiations. So
I think Vince canceled it because it wasn't scripted enough for him.
Oh. Yeah, but that's they kind of dropped the ball on that. Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne having that match.
Goddamn, pal, that guy said flat. I told him to say house. Fucking cancel the show.
All right.
So yeah, the Revival beat the Hardys in a clean match. Good fight. I liked it. I'm always a huge fan of the Revival style because it's just such an old school tag team wrestling style. They picked that body part. They really worked the leg pretty much the whole match, told that story. And I'm looking forward to an extended program with these two teams.
And I mean, we talked about it last week, how much we were looking forward to that.
All right, then. Styles and
Good input,
Nakamura. Styles and Nakamura team up on the main event of SmackDown to take on Owens and Corbin. Your typical, these four guys are facing each other in singles matches at the pay-per-view, so let's have them come on. The part that I found most interesting about this was the backstage segment, where Nakamura comes in and AJ's got the belt sitting there, and Nakamura sort of points to it and says, "One day you're going to call,
and I'm going to answer."
Referencing the U.S. Open Challenge, telling us he's going to be the one to answer the U.S. Open Challenge at some point. They are teasing the shit out of this feud in this program. It's going to happen, and I'm semi-aroused at the prospect. But when does it matter to be decided? But it looks like we were talking about WrestleMania, but it looks like that may happen a little sooner than that.
Yeah.
Now, see, I'm excited if that match happens at any given point, but I'm assuming you would be upset if 1 week on SmackDown he just came out there and they had the match then, right?
Yes, I fucking would.
Sal, don't poke the bear, all right?
Because
the problem is they don't do anything for the pay-per-views anymore. They're not even really pay-per-views. They're special events on the network because pay-per-view means people are paying to see them, and ain't nobody paying to see these pay-per-views. Everybody who has a subscription to the network has one, and anybody else who doesn't gets their first month free anyway.
Then stop writing all your storylines directing you to this event. That's all.
They got to get TV ratings, man.
Okay. Anyway, do we have did Co-Ghost Sean, Sean and I tied in the fantasy league this week, but me being the magnanimous personality, and because I've won so often, I decided to let Sean have this one. Sorry, Raccoon Reigns. I'm sorry. And pick the topic for this week. Did you get one, Adam?
I did. It says, and I quote.
Uh-oh.
And we're all completely out of prepared. This is we're all here.
This is blind. This is complete off the cuff here.
It's actually pretty good. Since we now know that Jason Jordan is quite obviously Kurt Angle's son, my question is, who is your all-time favorite second or third generation wrestler? Mine is obviously The Rock, but I'm hoping there will be some other answers.
Ooh.
Oh, this is one that would have been good to have some prep time for.
Yeah, I don't know why you sent it just to me.
Because Jason told him to. You said texture. Oh no, you said you could pick the topic, and then he said I'll text it to Adam later. That's right.
Yeah.
Troy told him to 2 weeks ago when I wasn't on the show. But
Smathers was a good option, says Cody Rhodes.
Sure.
See, Smathers stealing my thunder. I was going to say present day. There's nobody doing better work right now than the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. He's been fucking amazing. For second generation wrestling.
Charlotte Flair.
Carmella.
Cody Rhodes has not revitalized an entire genre of wrestling, and granted, Charlotte hasn't done it by herself, but she's been a big part of it in bringing women's wrestling back to the forefront, making it something where women are main eventing pay-per-views. Women are getting, noticed. They're getting considerable time. This is a full, I don't want to use the phrase revolution, but this is a full change in the entire view of women in professional wrestling, and she's been at the head of it. So if you're talking about favorite second-generation wrestlers, she's got to be high up on the list.
If she's your favorite, that's fine. To me, the other three horsewomen were always, in my mind, more favorited for me than her. I obviously love Sasha, and my love for Becky.
Love is a different discussion. who you're a fan of, who you think's hotter, all that stuff is a different discussion.
Well, I thought that's what he said. I thought he said favorite. Am I wrong in the context of the question?
We're talking about who's running divisions, who's changing the game, who's making the biggest impact as a second-generation star.
Adam, is that how the question was phrased?
Who is your all-time favorite second or third-generation wrestler?
See, I took it as favorite. So
it says favorites, huh?
If we're talking all-time changing the game,
well, in that case, David Flair.
There you go. D.H. Smith. There you go. There's the end of discussion.
Adam, you had time to prep for this question. Who's your favorite?
Just in terms of entertainment value, I've always been a fan of Goldust.
Right.
It'd be if everybody already, he already took The Rock, so we're looking for answers that are not The Rock. I'm kind of going for 200, Alex. So I'm kind of trying to go, trying to go off the beaten path here. Goldust has always been a favorite of mine. In terms of second generation, you've got the Usos. We still don't know what Rikishi said to David Otunga.
Nope.
You guys keep harping on that. He did say it like a couple weeks later.
Oh, did he?
Put it on Twitter or something.
But it was just like he said that he's mad at them or something like dumb and trite. Like I don't know. For all the hype, you would have thought that he told them like some type of bombshell or something.
Matt Riley says David Benoit.
Oh.
Better than saying Daniel Benoit. Smathers on the side says Paige, comeback wrestler of the year, except he spelled it something wrong.
Of course he did.
Matt then said Rey Mysterio. That's a decent point.
Nobody's going to say Alberto Del Rio. I'll tell you that much.
I was about to say that, actually. Jeff Jarrett.
Ew. No.
Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, Mr. Perfect's another good one.
Curtis
second
Axel.
generation. Technically, Jake Roberts is a second generation.
Curtis Axel's actually third generation, so
yeah,
True.
That's a second or third.
Little
Did
Jimmy.
you know?
You've of course got your Bob Ortons and your Randy Ortons.
Oh, Macho Man Randy Savage is second generation.
It's true. Yeah, that's a good one.
I was always the Leaping Lanny Poffo guy. No.
King Maxwell.
Said nobody ever.
Including Matt Riley.
We didn't get any follow up on our discussion from last week, and that made me sad. Although we had a few discussions in the host thread about the worst debut to biggest superstar. We didn't get any. Nobody sent us any emails. That kind of bums me out. But
I think no, never mind. All right. So
does that bring us to the news?
It does bring us to the news and one step closer to our huge exclusive announcements coming up. But we are going to kick off the news this week with the news that former UFC champion Ronda Rousey was in attendance for the Mae Young Classic tapings at Full Sail. She sat ringside with her MMA horsewomen Marina Schiffer, Jessamine Duke to watch their friend Shayna Baszler compete in the first round. And without getting too spoilery, there was supposedly a moment where the four horsewomen of MMA squared off face-to-face with the four horsewomen of NXT/WWE. That was said to be a very intense moment that got a great reaction that has prompted some to think if this is a bit of foreshadowing for a program for maybe a mania of wrestling, if you will.
Didn't one of them challenge Becky to a fight at SummerSlam?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not getting into spoilers.
Oh no, I thought it was on Twitter. I thought that's.
But
out
you
there.
have Shayna Baszler competing in this tournament. You have Marina as a sort of pseudo regular character on NXT now, being married to Roddy Strong, and being shown on TV quite a bit. You add Rousey, who's always had somewhat of a presence in WWE programming. So there's a lot of smoke there. You got to think at some point there might be some fire.
Yeah,
Somebody
it's nice to see.
straight fire, if you will.
It was nice to see that Ronda and Stephanie made up after their tussle at WrestleMania a few years ago.
There's a video of Hunter waiting like a bitch outside the building for Ronda to show up. Just like
drinking out of cups, being a bitch.
Yeah, seriously.
If you booked Ronda Rousey for one match and it was against Stephanie McMahon, take my money, because I don't care if it's scripted. I don't care if it's not an octagon. To see her toss Stephanie around the ring would be priceless.
Nina Marie chimes in on the side, just related to Sean's topic for the week, saying Kerry Von Erich was a great second-generation wrestler, and that's a good one that we hadn't considered. But yeah, so the Four Horsewomen could be colliding somewhere in the future. It seems certainly that they're planting some seeds for that. Gail Kim appeared on last week's GFW Impact. Yes, I said that right, GFW Impact, to announce her retirement. The Impact Hall of Famer said she will be retiring from in-ring competition at the end of 2017, but while she is retiring, she plans on going out on top. The six-time Knockouts champion thanked the other wrestlers, the company, and the fans during her speech. Gail will be appearing regularly between now and the end of the year until retirement, and it is said that she's already agreed to take on a producer's role or an agent's role backstage with the company.
All right, so for everything bad that Impact has done for years, can we say that Impact gave Gail Kim the career that she never would have had in the WWE?
I have issues with Gail Kim. Stemming to her last run in WWE, and I know she constantly makes a joke about the whole eliminating herself from a battle royal thing. To me, that's just incredibly unprofessional. And I just always sort of held that against her. But there is certainly no denying the stride she made. And to be fair, and some people have said this in the past, when you talk about women's revolutions in wrestling, it started in TNA with the Knockouts division.
Absolutely.
Before Hogan and Bischoff got there.
Before Hogan and Bischoff, and before the WWE did anything but put Kelly Kelly on TV, you had 20-minute matches.
Well, let's be fair. There's nothing wrong with putting Kelly Kelly on TV. It's just context.
Right. But you were getting 20-minute matches from people like Madison Rayne and Gail Kim and ODB, and there's a host of others, Velvet Sky, although she was never the best wrestler, she was one of the most over. And you really...
Best entrance in wrestling.
Absolutely. Before, and like you said, before the WWE was doing a women's revolution, the TNA Knockouts division was revered for putting women's wrestling on the map.
Absolutely. Austin Aries. Go ahead. Sorry.
So I've said it multiple times on this show that back when I watched TNA, when TNA was
watchable.
Watchable.
I watch TNA every chance I get. Just so you know.
I can't anymore, man. Especially with Del Rio there. But go ahead.
He's not talking about that TNA. Back when I would watch Impact weekly, that was one of the reasons that my wife would watch with me, watch Impact with me, is because of the women's division and because of the difference between the Knockouts division and what was then the Divas division, and how they were presented, and the fact that, like you said, they were actually given actual matches to have.
Mm-hmm.
There was a segue I was going to make, but I'm not going to do it. Austin Aries was released from his contract with WWE last week. Shortly after the announcement was made on WWE's official website, Aries appeared pleased by the news, writing on his social media, "It's a beautiful day." On Friday, Aries officially released a statement on his WWE departure via his Twitter, saying, "I'd like to thank WWE for the opportunity to perform for the amazing fans of the WWE Universe. I'd also like to thank the extremely talented, hardworking people of WWE," or as Kurt Angle would say, WWE, whom I had the pleasure to work both in front of and behind the camera. I wish them continued health, happiness, and success as I move on to new endeavors. Those new endeavors including being unemployed. says, thank you to my supporters and detractors. Exciting announcements coming soon. Aries has a 90-day no-compete agreement attached to his WWE contract, which ends on October 5th of 2017, according to the Wrestling Observer. He'll continue to collect his downside guarantee, which is sort of like unemployment, from WWE until the point that he will be able to wrestle and use the Austin Aries name after that agreement expires. Aries can work indie dates during the next 3 months, but the dates will have to be approved by WWE, meaning he won't be working anywhere that they don't want him working until his no-compete clause expires.
Just think how much time he'll have to post in his Boston Bombing Hoax Group Facebook chats.
Yeah, I won't be seeing any of the things he tweets.
No, you will not, including the fact that his newest look has him removing all his facial hair from his face.
Yeah, he apparently really liked the look Pitbull had at WrestleMania.
That's how he's filling up his 90 days, Pitbull impersonator.
Because he's ready to go.
I wish he had a 90-day no breathing clause, but
yeah, there you go. Kenny's back. He says, Kenny Lockhart back on the side, asks if we have shared the El Mundo match card yet. Not yet. We will get there very shortly as soon as we
Exclusive.
Yes. But we are on our news section, and I will continue by letting you know that Ryback recently made headlines on his podcast, Conversations with the Big Guy, when he
has
claimed,
a fucking podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody has a podcast. That's
true.
Look at any asshole has a podcast.
Seriously.
Look at us. WWE thought about booking him to do battle with the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 30, which took place at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, not the Silverdome, in New Orleans, Louisiana. He claimed that Mark Carrano,
Pontiac Superdome, brother.
WWE's Senior Director of Talent Relations, showed him a pre-lineup for the show and that he was penciled in to battle the legend. However, according to Warrior's widow, Dana Warrior, there is no truth to this, as she tweeted, "Not true. It always saddens me when people tell untruths on a man's grave to promote their lives. Do your own work." Warriors manager Steve Wilton backed her statement and tweeted the following: "Not true. He was responding to Dana's when he said, 0 truth. I negotiated the whole deal with Warrior. He wanted to be nothing but an ambassador for the company and mentor the young talent. 0 truth to Ryback versus Warrior at WrestleMania 30. Warrior had no intention of ever stepping in the ring. Listen to his speech. It was never discussed. Ryback believed the match would not have done much for his professional wrestling career, but he would have done it anyway, saying, quote, I remember seeing my buddy, one of my great friends in life, Mark Carrano, actually showed me the WrestleMania card early. They kind of have an idea what they want to do, obviously ahead of time, and they had on it Ryback versus Ultimate Warrior. And I just said, cool. But in my head at the time, I was kind of, during my heel deal, that first one, where it probably wasn't going to be a favorable position for me as far as all that. But I was excited because I figured that's one of his last moments in WWE. So I thought it would be really cool. I didn't think I would necessarily be the right guy for that. Probably not. But I didn't know anything about what kind of shape he was in or if he could wrestle or not. But I 100% would have done it. I always did what was asked of me there. Ryback reflected, especially being in that position that I was in and having success without necessarily being allowed to go higher. But I didn't think it was because it probably, well, much like when Hunter did it, the favors for him at WrestleMania before he came back early on. Hunter had never broken through yet and whatnot. But I didn't think that it was necessarily going to be perfect. But at the same time, I loved the Ultimate Warrior as a kid. In this business, you can't be a fucking mark. Given some of the other stuff he said, especially a lot of guys have a problem with this. It's business, and I'm looking at it like, wow, how the fuck do I recover from that? It's not necessarily going to be a joke, but it's probably going to be one of those 2-minute deals. In Ryback's estimation, being part of Warrior's last match would have been a memorable moment. It seems like he's talking out of both sides of his mouth here. I don't know.
He's fucking lying.
It's almost like he's a fucking douchebag.
Quote, it would have been cool because it would live on forever and whatnot in the grand scheme of things. From a professional standpoint, from a personal standpoint, it would have been cool to be part of his last moment in WWE. As far as his last match, probably in WWE, to give him to go out and one big bang. Ryback believes that the match with Warrior never happened because WWE's plans changed, but also said that the whole thing may have been nothing more than a rib. Yeah, so that was one of those deals. And this is, again, I don't know how serious it was. That was a real thing at one point, or if it was presented as a real thing. Again, you never know with WWE. Mark Carrano, they could have done this sheet or forged it. Let's fuck with Ryback and make him think he's going to be on WrestleMania. I'm not kidding. It could have been that. But I did see the sheet where it said Ryback versus Ultimate Warrior, and they had other matches on that card that did end up happening. But things change, and that ended up not happening. I'm glad he clarified it, that didn't happen, and I stroked out and missed it. I don't understand how anyone sits there and says, from a career standpoint, facing the Ultimate Warrior in his first and probably last match at WrestleMania wouldn't have done much for my career.
It's almost, and
then says,
correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's almost as if he's full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, and then to follow up on his other segment of some people are fucking marks, this is also the guy who said he should get paid more. The guys who lose matches should get paid as much as the guys. Everybody should get paid the same because guys can't win matches without him losing them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they couldn't find anyone else to lose a match.
I agree with Dana Warrior. It is sad that somebody has to use somebody's name to try to promote themselves. Like, nobody's believing that.
Speaking of sad things, let's go on to our next story because it's a follow-up from something last week. Despite having a dispute at Orlando International Airport last Sunday, Alberto El Patron and Paige are still together. At least they were as of Wednesday. Meltzer said the two were back together, happy and wondering why so much of a fuss has been made regarding them. Really? You don't fucking understand? In the latest issue of Wrestling Observer newsletter, Meltzer told that story. It was reported late in June that the couple had broken up only to get back together days later. Meltzer noted that they may also have broken up one other time in the past several weeks, and it's gotten to the point where El Patron's friends assume they'll get back together. Assume they'll get back together when he tells them they've broken up. Alberto El Patron has since been stripped of the WAW Undisputed World Heavyweight Championship. The title is the top belt of the World Association of Wrestling, which is owned by Paige's father, Ricky Knight. It is also of note that El Patron isn't even mentioned in the statements stripping him of the title. Patron is also currently suspended by Global Force Wrestling after an incident that saw Orlando police open an investigation against him for alleged domestic violence assault. Paige has since publicly stated that she was the aggressor in the situation, although Orlando police representatives maintain Patron is currently the only one under investigation, which remains open. Since then, there have been reports that Paige is actually going to be charged with domestic battery in this incident, which would seem to validate her statement that she was actually the aggressor in the situation. We touched on this last week. This is just, there's no scenario where this ends well, the way this is going.
Of course she's going to be the one charged. She's the one that had all the coke on her.
Yeah. Also, in related news, Alberto Del Rio stepped down today as the president of Combate Americas, which is the MMA, Latin-based MMA promotion running primarily out of New York, for which he had been the figurehead, sort of like their Dana White was the intended role, I think, for him. However, apparently Combate Americas was not comfortable with a coked-up woman abuser being the face of their company. Not sure why.
Worst situation, the situation that the girls who live with R. Kelly are in, or Paige?
Oh, I would much rather get pissed on than killed, so... Sometimes you even pay extra for that. There have been some online reports stating that Shelton Benjamin has signed with WWE. Dave Meltzer noted in
it's going to be Kurt Angle's son. Oh, shit.
Noted in Wrestling Observer newsletter that the WWE is saying that Benjamin has not signed a contract as of earlier this week. That was until they needed to replace the black guy in American Alpha, and I can tell you now, Shelton Benjamin has re-signed and will debut alongside Chad. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah,
the new American Alpha.
This Shelton Benjamin thing has sort of reached the level of will they or won't they? I don't know. Kenny on the side says, what if the Paige and El Patron drama is a work? I don't think so, because I don't see who they're working, to be completely honest with you.
What is a work? Is not a work.
What I'm convinced is a work is the whole No Way Jose and Thea Trinidad thing, because I'm 100% convinced that is a shot at Del Rio and Paige. What they're doing with those two. Where Del Rio, the whole segment they're doing with what's his name there?
Andrade.
Yes, Andrade Almas.
Andrade Cien
You said no way.
and she
Jose.
attended.
Oh, did I? Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, no way, Jose.
But they did the whole gimmick where he's out there partying and he's not taking anything seriously, and
Yeah.
then she comes along and now she's screaming at him and they're sort of yelling at each other and sort of seems related to something else. But
yeah, I mean, the best works are the ones that cost you jobs and championships.
We alluded to this earlier, but WWE recently made a big change to their programming schedule on the network. Fans who are used to watching Talking Smack every Tuesday night following 205 Live won't have that option anymore because the show has been canceled as a weekly series. On Friday, the WWE issued a statement to multiple news sites explaining the change, saying, quote, "We continuously review the WWE Network's programming lineup based on a variety of factors, including viewership and subscriber research. Talking Smack and Raw Talk will air following pay-per-view events, and Tuesday will continue to feature 205 Live," end quote. Talking Smack seems to be one of the most popular shows on the WWE Network, so the decision has left fans scratching their heads in regards to why the company would cancel the weekly talk show. According to a report by Sports Illustrated on Saturday, the show wasn't canceled due to lack of viewers. It was canceled by Vince McMahon himself. The unscripted style of the show played a part, as McMahon was not pleased with the show and felt that it wasn't best for the company's interests. While still very connected to what happens at the WWE televised events, Vince has not been present at shows as of late. He was present last week at last week's show and made the decision to cut the weekly format and, per McMahon, eventually end it altogether. It is worth noting that Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter is disputing the SI story, tweeting, "If that was the case, he'd have canceled it completely instead, but he kept it only after pay-per-view shows." Shortly after reports resurfaced at the show's cancellation, Meltzer said on Twitter that it was canceled because not enough people watch it.
It's a fucking lie.
It was, if you look at the rankings for viewership on WWE Network shows, which I believe is available publicly, it was relatively low. Now, they own the network. They can work and gimmick those numbers, I'm sure, to make whatever story they want out of it. So it depends on what you believe. I will say this. From a business perspective, I can understand Vince not liking the show, and allow me to explain why. Allow me to simply say this. If you're Vince McMahon, given the unstructured, unscripted nature of that show, you end up with guys running their own angles on the show that are not what your business is planning to do. For example, as much as The Miz got attention for that Daniel Bryan storyline, they weren't going to be able to do anything to pay it off. So they left the fans basically holding their dicks. And from a business perspective, I can understand Vince not being a fan of something like that. I love the show personally, but just in playing devil's advocate, I can understand why that might be a problem for Vince McMahon.
What are we talking about, guys?
Who's that?
Huh?
Hey, guys, I haven't been paying attention, but I wanted to hop on here to ask you guys a really important question. Well, two really important questions.
Yes, they're real and they're spectacular.
That was my third one for off air. My first question was, have you visited the Questionable Endeavor Network website at questendnetwork.com?
You're such a whore.
Okay. Second question is, have you guys talked about the most important news segment from this entire week?
Ladies and gentlemen, the father of Quest End himself, Andy is here.
Yes, and I've come with an important message. Punk Watch 2017.
Oh, this is going to be good.
So what do you guys think about CM Punk possibly coming back? Well, maybe not at all, but do we care at this point? Have we talked about that? Did I miss that?
No, you did not miss it. We did not touch on that yet.
So what do we think?
Fuck CM Punk.
Jason, be honest. Was it part of your news segment of the rumors going around this week?
No, I don't dedicate any fucking time.
Of course not.
I gotta be honest, I didn't buy it because everybody's always talking about Punk. Oh, they want to bring Punk back. He has no interest.
Well, no. And realistically, what the rumor amounts to is, I think it was Kurt Angle was asked about Punk and said he didn't think he'd ever fight again and that he'd probably come back someday. That's the extent of where this rumor came from, as far as I know.
I don't know. I heard something about Dave Meltzer. Of course, good old Dave Meltzer talking about certain names of people that McMahon was interested in trying to get back. I know Johnny Mundo, Rey Mysterio, and then
Mysterio.
CM
I
Punk was
did
on
hear
that
Rey
list.
Mysterio. Yep.
So,
I'm sure Vince would love. Look, just like the Hardys, Vince would love to have him back. Are they willing to come back?
I don't know that Vince wants him back, dude. You got to keep in mind the guy is a giant fucking headache to work with. As good as he is in the ring, the fucking attitude problem at times for certain guys just outweighs what they bring you in terms of value.
You're right.
in the ring.
Dude,
But
he took back Warrior and Bret Hart. I mean, you want to talk
money
about
talks. Money. If the money's there and both sides are willing, it could happen. But I don't know if both sides are willing. I just thought it was an interesting bit of news I wanted to bring up, and I found that really cool sound effect.
All right, so shall I continue with the rest of the news?
I like that you almost said the actual news.
Hashtag fake news. AJ Styles sent shockwaves on July 7th as he defeated Kevin Owens to become the United States champion during a live event. Also spouting anti-American rhetoric, WWE officials felt that there were one too many.
Whoa.
Did I just lose connection or something?
Either you did or I did, because the whole screen went black for a while. Okay. Adam's not there anymore. Andy's not there anymore.
Okay, so it's just you and me, so we must be okay. I'll keep going.
There they are. They're back.
Yeah. Hey, guys. We totally lost. I don't know what happened, but I just...
No, the same thing happened to me, man. Everybody just, blacked out for a second.
That was weird.
WWE officials felt that there were one too many SmackDown Live stars portraying similar gimmicks. Therefore, it was decided that Owens was the one who needed the gimmick the least of the three. The other reason for the title change had to do with the DVD and Blu-ray on Styles that the WWE plans to release next year. With the release several months away, WWE officials felt that Styles needed to have another significant moment highlighted since his WWE Championship win was 9 months ago. It also should be noted that the WWE is open to a title change at a house show every 2 to 3 years just to set the narrative that anything can happen at the WWE at any time. Of course, next Sunday at Battleground, Owens will challenge Styles in a rematch for the U.S. Championship, and we'll discuss that when we get to predictions.
Yeah, but fuck the Kevin Owens DVD that just came out.
Right.
That's already been done. We don't need to put any more shit in that.
Never mind all the... merchandise and entrance of Kevin Owens as the face of America.
In the eyes of a few WWE officials, some of the women who wrestled in the Mae Young Classic, quote, aren't hot. According to Dave Nelson, in the latest issue of the Wrestling Observer newsletter,
a thing.
Those in the company who believe WWE women, quote, all have to be hot, were not pleased with some of the talent used in the 32 women tournament. They feel that a lot of the women used aren't good looking enough for WWE standards. According to a Twitter user who has sources in the WWE and has broken a number of stories, the officials who Meltzer did not name are Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn. Fucking shocker. This Twitter user also noted that he was given the names of who McMahon and Dunn specifically disliked. Quote, don't blame me, Meltzer said on this matter. I think last year showed conclusively that the audience reacts better now to strong performers than hot women who are there for nothing other than being hot. Quote, the lack of reaction to Lana in her new role as compared to her old role, the one woman being marketed in the old way to the extreme kind of showed that. But far more important than if the crowd does or doesn't react, those who have access to the quarter-hour numbers and have noted this group of women do far better in the ratings than the Kelly types and Maurice types. And the women in general did when the women were hired with the idea of getting the hottest models and trying to teach them how not to have bad girly matches, as opposed to now where the women aren't discouraged from wrestling a hard style. Meltzer also noted that the WWE gave some of the women full makeovers prior to the tournament.
Jesus.
Happy Women's Revolution.
Is this not the 21st century? This is ridiculous. Like, where are we in our culture right now?
Now, Andy, you did miss it. We just were talking about how in NXT, Ember Moon and Ruby Riott tore the house down. They put on a fantastic women's match. And that's what NXT does, is they showcase women for their talent in the ring. Right. And then there's this. They do a women's tournament, and Vince McMahon is unhappy because they're not hot.
Andy will see that to me in a Ruby Riott match in about 2 years.
I'll get there. I just hit December on NXT. I'm up to December.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Kenny on the side says, Tamina is hot? ? I guess to some people. And Kogo Sean says it's been announced that all of the matches in the Mae Young Classic will now be evening gown matches. Something touched on a little bit earlier. Rey Mysterio is currently negotiating with WWE and Global Force Wrestling, according to Sports Illustrated. Mysterio, who is 42 years old, is currently seen on El Rey's Lucha Underground. He is signed through the end of the 3rd season, which is set to air in September, and would then be free to work with any wrestling company after his 90-day non-compete clause expires.
There is go to Global Force. That's fine.
There is strong incentive for both companies to make Mysterio an offer he cannot refuse. WWE is still searching for a big Latino star after failing to replace Mysterio in the first place. According to Sports Illustrated, Global Force Wrestling is very motivated to move away from Alberto El Patron, wonder why, and generate some positive headlines by inking the legendary Mysterio. Mysterio parted ways with WWE in February of 2015, but has always been open to the idea of returning. His son Dominic is looking to follow in his father's footsteps, so Mysterio could opt to return to WWE in hopes that it helps his son's future. The possibility also looms that Lucha Underground will swoop in with an offer to retain Mysterio, but El Rey has yet to announce a 4th season for the show.
I thought Dominic was Eddie's son.
No. Remember, Ray climbed the pole and got the paternity test or whatever.
Oh, Lord.
Ray won the Letterman, yeah. No, Rey Mysterio can stay as far away from WWE as humanly possible. That'd be great, thanks.
That's a little harsh.
I mean, I don't know. I think he had his run. Unless they have a really good idea for Mysterio in WWE, then go for it. But they won't. They won't use him right.
You know what their idea is? Put him up against the Big Show again.
He could team up with Sin Cara.
Ugh.
Allow me to present you with a great idea for Rey Mysterio, general manager of 205 Live.
Hey.
I might be okay with that.
You know what, though?
Kill a guy. We're okay.
That's not bad.
It brings credibility to that show.
Did you just say as long as he doesn't kill a guy?
Sorry.
Oh.
All right.
Oh, God. Kogo Sean says, thank goodness Ray won Dominic back in that ladder match. Otherwise, he'd be an orphan.
So Shaw Guerrero is an orphan?
Oh, God.
I think he's not dead.
But then never mind.
It only takes a glance at the WWE's Mae Young Classic field to see that it is stacked with talent who have wrestled for TNA in the past and
who aren't hot.
And apparently Taylor Wilde, who was almost one of them. The former Knockouts champion revealed on Twitter that similar to Serena Deeb, she was looking to come out of retirement for the 32-woman tournament. However, the plans were scrapped after she sustained an injury while training. She tweeted, I was considered to partake in the Mae Young Classic due to an injury sustained in training. Retirement is where I will stay. However, that doesn't mean I wouldn't consider other opportunities. I'm just retired as an in-ring talent. Wilde, whose real name is Chantel Malowski, was under contract to WWE in 2006 and 2007, but never made it past the developmental system. In 2008, she joined TNA and would go on to become a one-time Knockouts champion and a two-time Knockouts tag team champion, because that was a thing. I forgot about it, with her partners Sarita and Hamada, while also becoming the first wrestler to have held both titles. After departing from TNA in December of 2010, she announced her retirement from professional wrestling and wrestled her final match on February 5th, 2011, and has stayed retired since then. So. Did somebody just enter a cocktail party? What the fuck happened?
There's a giant thunderstorm outside, so if I disappear for some reason, anyway,
is that giant?
You'll have to scrub that out of the audio.
Yeah, but the thunderstorms are having conversations.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Adam, is there TV on in your house?
No, there's people talking in the kitchen.
Oh, that's probably
that.
Okay.
Well, tell them to shut up. No,
talk if you can. Survive if he lets you. Last week during Raw, Emma expressed her frustration on not being used. During the match between the Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss and Bayley, she tweeted, "Here in Nashville watching Alexa versus Bayley, then Sasha and Nia. Love watching others get more opportunities that I never got. Cool." Emma returned to action last month after suffering a shoulder injury in early May. WWE teased the storyline with her and Dana Brooke at the Great Balls of Fire kickoff show, but have yet to follow up on it. Emma signed a contract with WWE in 2011, but did not report to developmental until 2012. She also tweeted that she has been with WWE for 5 years and was just sitting backstage at Raw.
Hey, maybe that's who Jason Jordan was traded for, and she can fight Naomi at the pay-per-view.
There you go.
Maybe that's who's been destroying the fashion police's office.
Yes.
Because they
She's
stole
going
her
there to
gimmick.
steal.
Hey, she was the first one to bring the hot cop gimmick to WWE. So
There you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Maybe Emma gets released before the SummerSlam.
well, yeah. I mean, tweeting negative shit about your company is always a good move.
That'll get you pushed.
Yeah, that's
Which is sad because I've always liked Emma. I've always thought she was a great performer in the ring. Obviously, a great look. It's sad they couldn't find anything from her, but I think they just never trusted her.
Yeah,
for a multitude of reasons.
A lot of injuries too. I think
A lot of
curtailed some
injuries
her pushes.
piled up.
There is speculation on WWE possibly trying to recruit 22-year-old Iranian wrestler Hassan Yazdani, who won a gold medal at the 2016 Olympic Games. Yazdani was mentioned several times on last week's Raw as Arya Daivari dedicated his win over Akira Tozawa to Yazdani. Apparently, they've also kind of been using Kurt Angle to sort of back-channel talk to him about transitioning from an Olympic wrestling to a professional wrestling. I don't know.
He's also Kurt Angle's son.
He's his Iranian son.
I don't know if anyone is familiar with Hassan Yazdani, but he's a very talented Olympic wrestler. It'd be interesting to see.
I'm familiar with him because Arya Daivari put him over, which I was like, what did they sign this guy? So.
There you go. No, just trying to push him before they actually sign him. So, meanwhile, Emma still sat backstage.
Sad.
Hassan Yazdani got a better push this week than Emma. You all right, Adam?
Yep. Sorry.
Okay. WWE Universal Champion Brock Lesnar is rumored to be returning to the UFC in the near future. The @TalkMMA Twitter account, which has revealed a few stories in the past, reports that Lesnar and Heyman were at UFC HQ to meet with company officials during International Fight Week earlier this month. While this should be taken as a rumor for now, but the report states that Lesnar's return to the Octagon is imminent and likely for the November 4th show from Madison Square Garden. They also state that Lesnar is expected to drop the Universal title at SummerSlam in August. They also noted that a second source told him that Lesnar is back in the testing pool for the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, aka USADA. Lesnar was suspended from fighting for 1 year due to his failed drug tests related to the UFC 200 fight against Mark Hunt, but he is now eligible to fight again. I don't think that's entirely accurate. We'll get to that after. It was reported back in July of 2016 that Lesnar was still under contract to UFC, despite being signed to a WWE deal. It was also reported that last July, that Lesnar was eyeballing another fight for late 2016 or early 2017, but that was before the failed drug tests were announced. UFC rules state that a fighter must inform the promotion 4 months in advance if he or she is coming out of retirement so they can be placed into the USADA testing pool. UFC President Dana White spoke with TMZ in December and said that he believes Lesnar's MMA career was winding down, but added that he's a freak of nature and anything could happen. Lesnar's UFC 200 win over Hunt was later overturned by the Nevada Athletic Commission and ruled a no contest due to the failed drug tests. Lesnar currently has an MMA record of 5 wins, 3 losses, and 1 no contest.
Serious question.
Yes.
If you're Brock Lesnar and you have just a plethora of money, and the WWE keeps throwing money at you, what is the desire to go back into a sport that you just got caught, juicing up in, and you had your only match against Mark Hunt thrown out? So what the fuck is the point of getting back in the octagon?
Probably the same motivation when he was on top of the WWE, the biggest thing in the company, and quit to go be on the practice squad of the Minnesota Vikings. Some people just crave authentic, real competition, and that is not something, for as much as we enjoy the product, that's not something you can necessarily get out of the WWE, where it's very scripted and very, micromanaged. This may just be him having an insane, intense urge to compete.
Yeah, see, he was presented that chance 3 years ago, and then he chose wrestling. He chose to re-sign with the WWE. So
he chose to do both. He just got suspended from UFC.
That's true. Maybe he'll do both still. I don't know. I'm all in for getting that Universal title off him, but I've enjoyed Brock's run since WrestleMania. When he comes, it is an attraction.
Well, his contract will expire after WrestleMania of this year, and now reports are surfacing that he has no intention of re-upping with a new contract. So,
All right, then you know what? Fungal. Goodbye.
well, say what you want. He is still a huge draw for them. So,
Of course. But just like CM Punk, if you don't want to be here, then get the fuck out.
Shane McMahon has survived a helicopter crash this week. A small helicopter.
It was not a crash, by the way, but continue.
A small helicopter carrying McMahon and one other passenger made a, quote, controlled landing, which sounds an awful lot like a crash, in the Atlantic Ocean. Anytime you make a landing in the ocean, that's a fucking crash. Off of Long Island's
George
Gilgo
Carlin
Beach
bit.
Wednesday morning, prompting a major emergency response. The pilot of the Robinson R-44 issued a mayday call just before going into the water about a half a mile offshore around 10:25 a.m. According to the Federal Aviation Administration, a commercial flight heading to John F. Kennedy International Airport heard the call for help and notified the FAA controllers. The FAA described the incident as a crash, but video from the scene showed the red helicopter resting on pontoons, apparently not submerged. The four-seater Robinson R-44 is designed to land in the water. Coast Guard officials say that the pilot deployed the pontoons to allow the aircraft to land safely. A Coast Guard official on scene said the helicopter, which had taken off from the Westchester County Airport, had some sort of mechanical issue that prompted the ocean landing. The FAA is investigating. It's very unsettling when you have something happen and hear a bang and they say, we're going to do an emergency landing in the water, McMahon said when interviewed after the crash landing. It's very unnerving, but again, the other passenger rescued was calm, so I was calm, and we landed perfectly, end quote. One of my favorite parts of this, I don't know if you saw any of the interview with the TV, was the reporter saying, hey, are you Vince McMahon's son?
Just checking.
Anybody else with any thoughts on Shane McMahon's? You know, you had to know a helicopter crash wasn't bringing this guy down. You'd think he survived all the shit he survived jumping off of. I'm surprised he didn't just do an elbow drop off the helicopter as it crashed into the water.
I was going to say, when prompted, Shane was like, was I nervous? No, I jumped off Hell in the Cell, God damn it.
Right?
I know that you're not going to mention the Rusev tweet.
Oh, no. Andy, you're a big Rusev fan.
Yes, I am.
So did you hear what?
The storm is intense. I'm just watching. I believe you. This is like crazy, like torrential downpour. But anyway, carry on.
Did you hear what Rusev tweeted?
No, I missed it. What did Rusev say?
Rusev tweeted, when you don't respond to my video messages, you land in the ocean.
Okay.
At Shane McMahon, hashtag karma spelled with a C for some reason. Hashtag WWE.
Maybe they don't have K's in Bulgaria. But that's awesome. That is amazing.
You land in the ocean.
Oh, that's too great. That is amazing. I love that so much.
In a move being compared to the Montreal Screwjob, Taya Valkyrie apparently has quit AAA on Twitter earlier this week after Sexy Star won the AAA Reina de Reinas championship at Sunday's AAA television taping in Monterrey. It was Star's first match for the promotion since she announced her retirement from pro wrestling last year. According to the Wrestling Observer, AAA asked Taya's boyfriend/fiance, Johnny Mundo, to bring her title belt with him for a few weeks ago for some photos backstage. When he did, the company announced to the crowd that the championship was now vacant. Vampiro would later tell the crowd that Taya no-showed the TV tapings, even though she wasn't ever scheduled to be there. Mundo still has several title belts belonging to the company, but it's unknown if he will return them. Taya was stripped of the title earlier in the month because she used a choke during her no DQ match with months earlier in April when she won the belt. Taya noted that she was stabbed in the back and said goodbye to AAA. Vampiro went on a Twitter tirade after a fan said that he lost respect for Vampiro and Sexy Star over the situation. Vampiro replied, "Probably shouldn't do this as I don't give a fuck, but a mark is a mark, regardless of the gender. It's called building a story and an angle, and the day that the talent dictates what happens in any company when the company is in trouble. There are hundreds of people involved in planning stories, programming events in advance, and for me to even waste time addressing this to you is crazy, as I have a responsibility to do the best I can with what I have in front of me. Running a company in 3 continents is extremely complicated. Now, as far as Taya is concerned, I choose not to say anything, as I have been around long enough to see many young talents close doors because they lose touch with reality. I support her, and I think she is incredible. Her opinions are hers and hers alone. As far as you go, they say you do what I have done or go through what I have gone through, and she can do a better job than me, then I will respect you. For now, I apologize, but to me, you're a person who made me take 5 minutes out of my day to answer your text out of respect for your ignorance. Other than that, have a good day. Mundo replied to Vampiro and called him, quote, a two-faced lying douchebag who believes his own lies. Tweeting, officially tweeting, I'm a mark for pro wrestling. Taya is a mark for hard work. The hard work a title represents. Vampiro, you are a mark for yourself. The locker room thinks you are a two-faced lying douchebag who believes his own lies. Hashtag office stooge. Retweet if you're with us. Vampiro responded to Morrison on Facebook saying, my response to Johnny Mundo, Taya, and fans in general is this: the perfect case of something that can turn into something very bad. When I took the job of talent relations, producing, and writing, I knew for a fact that I would have to have a thick skin, because no matter what you do or how you do it, when you work in the entertainment industry, or any industry for that matter, you are in a position of influence and have responsibilities, no matter what and no matter why. There will always be somebody who will not like you. I have also learned that you are a public person. There will be more people who hate you than like you, and you will be destroyed in public via social media and every other outlet available, as no matter what, even if you are trying to do the best you can, somebody will be offended. I get that, and it's all good. I'm okay with it, and I think that's why I continue to grow as a person, because I can understand that sooner or later I will make someone angry. So I prefer to be honest, and this is, I am as a human being, they do... and that is, I am a human being, and they do make mistakes, and by no means do I think I'm perfect. I'm only learning to do this job day by day, and I'm trying my hardest. I think Taya is incredible. I think she's a great performer, and she has so much more in front of her. I do think it was completely irresponsible in how I went about the situation with her, and for that I apologize. As far as Johnny goes, I have nothing but respect for him, and I think that he's one of the best pro wrestlers in the world today, and certainly one of the best ever of his generation. I'm just a guy who is trying his hardest to do his job. I do not apologize for who I am, but I do apologize if I have offended anyone, and I do make professional mistakes. In saying that, I do not do anything on my own. I always run things by my superiors, as that is the way things are supposed to be done. But I do strongly stand by what I am trying to transmit on television. I am certain that I cannot make everybody happy all the time, and I do realize that I am just a passenger on this journey, and sooner or later I will be out of style and somebody will take my place. But in the meantime, I'm going to continue to try to do my best, and certainly not getting involved in a Twitter feud, work or no work. I certainly hope this clears things up. There are great storylines and great angles coming up, and it's not my fault if talent is unhappy with me, but I am extending my hand in friendship and asking for forgiveness for whatever I have done wrong, and I would love to have a discussion with anybody that has been offended by me, because I can guarantee you that I did not do it intentionally. This is the last I will comment on the issue, and I hope it's sufficient. Thank you much, and have a great evening.
Jesus.
This is a giant shit show for Mexican or AAA wrestling, Mexican wrestling, however you put it, on the par with the Montreal Screwjob because of the way things were handled. Certainly very shady to ask her boyfriend to bring you her title to take pictures as a way of getting the title back from her without having to do business with her.
It's been going on in wrestling for years. The Montreal Screwjob was the most, known one, but I mean, Jim Herd and Ric Flair had a falling out over the big gold belts. There's been other situations and other promotions where that happened. If you believe the rumors, Buddy Rogers was never told he was losing the belt the night he lost it to Bruno Sammartino. So it's never a good situation when something like that happens. And I like Taya. I think she's a fantastic performer, and obviously Johnny Mundo. So,
but she's got a little gap too. So she's probably not hot enough for Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn. So,
shame, she'd be great in NXT.
Speaking of NXT, last item in the news I want to bring up here. This is sort of breaking news as it came out today, and for his part, he has not made this actually official, but local independent wrestler and former Ring of Honor star Donovan Dijak announced that he is finishing up his independent bookings and will not be taking any future ones, which has pretty much convinced people that the long-standing rumors that he has signed with NXT are becoming official, and he will be joining WWE and NXT brand in the near future. So big congratulations to Donovan Dijak. I remember first time I saw him back in APW as the Yugoslavian nobleman. Did a hell of a job with that gimmick and has done a hell of a job with everything since. Tremendous performer in the ring. The things he does at his size he should not be able to do. Was incredibly underutilized, I thought, by Ring of Honor, and I'm looking forward to see what he can do down in NXT. So again, congrats to Donovan Dijak.
I am absolutely thrilled for Dijak. I can't wait to see him on the 5th of August at Lucky Pro and tell him that in person.
Absolutely.
I don't know that person, but thumbs up for that guy.
You will, my friend.
You will, and he's great. Not to brag for the other two hosts from New England here, but when you turn on wrestling these days, a lot of people announce from Boston, Massachusetts. I'm just saying.
It still blows my mind sometimes the amount of guys I've worked with or worked around that I see on TV on a weekly basis.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, it's amazing right now, man.
And you're going to see a lot of those guys this coming Sunday at Fenway Park when we present the Wrestling SuperCard. Exclusive announcements coming up immediately after our Battleground predictions.
Exclusive.
Stay tuned. It's just a little bit away.
It is. Let's get to those predictions, shall we? Because Battleground.
Yes, let's do the predictions, and I'm going to hop off after that because I don't want to lose this audio. But
wait, are you actually going to predict this pay-per-view, Andy?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to predict it. Well, I'm going to predict the fuck out of it. Let's do this.
It's the only reason Andy's here is to whore out the network.
Yep, 1.
Thunder noises.
2, talk about CM Punk and play the music, and 3, to do predictions. That's the best part of the show is predictions.
Well, he also came on to ask me about my titties.
And that's the 4th one. Again, that was off air. That was going to talk to you about that. But
every time there's news about Punk, will you come on here and do Punk Watch?
Absolutely. I'm going to bookmark this YouTube video. That's right now, actually.
Okay. Battleground this Sunday, live on pay-per-view.
Okay, so hold on.
SmackDown.
I've decided I'm going to approach predictions going forward in a new way.
Okay.
I'm not going to predict what I think is going to happen. I'm going to tell you how I would book it.
Okay, Vince.
Right?
Once on the kickoff show, once more into the breach we go. Ty Dillinger battling AIDS.
Wait, okay. AIDS in English. Okay, I was like, wait, what? This is a tragic story. How did that not get into the news?
I only said it that way because I knew that Andy did not know what that joke meant. He was not here the first time we made that joke.
Carry on. All right. Wow.
Ty Dillinger taking on Aiden English with no build-up, no story whatsoever. Just put those two guys on the kickoff show again.
Way to push Ty then. It's going to be Ty winning.
I would hope so because they're certainly not doing anything with jacked up math teacher Aiden English.
I love
10! It's a fucking 10!
That was the most perfectly timed thunderclap I think I've ever heard.
It was pretty good. I like it. Right. Keep that one in.
Sal.
Believe it or not, I'm going to go with Aiden English and hope it leads to something. Maybe he cheats.
Well, you're wrong.
Sal roots for AIDS.
Sal's pro AIDS, ladies and gentlemen.
It's what I think is going to happen, not what I want to happen.
So you want Ty to get AIDS?
Yeah, son of a bitch.
I want Ty to win. I don't think he's winning. I think he's going to lose.
So you think he's going to lose his battle with AIDS?
I can't even.
Dark. Oh, those are sirens. All right, let's move this along. Those are sirens. All right.
He's not a dark match. It's actually going to be shown on the network.
Those are definitely sirens. We probably should move this along so I can make sure that's not a tornado.
Just added Sami Zayn versus Mike Kanellis.
Got to be Mike. You can't have him lose this early.
Give it to Mike.
I think so, yeah. Go check that out, Andy.
I'm going to go make sure that, Ray's turning on the TV. I'll be right back.
Everybody's died. Everybody in Iowa's dead. Yeah, it's got.
Well, they did vote for Trump, so.
Yeah, Mike wins.
Has to.
With chicanery, but that's fine.
Power
Which
of
sucks because I hate when Sammy loses, but you know I'd like to see
Feel
Sammy
the
get more of a push. But
power of love.
He's the Tommy Dreamer. He can lose every time.
it's true.
And he doesn't even have to wrestle in a shirt.
Oh,
There you go.
no, but apparently the Usos do.
What they got that weenie do?
Andy, you good?
I don't know. We just turned the TV on, so he's gonna check. But anyway, what are we on?
We're gonna go to the SmackDown Tag Title match, and Andy, you and I had a hell of a time discussing the rap battle a couple weeks back.
We did.
The Usos versus the New Day for the tag titles. Who do you got?
I'm gonna go with the Usos. No, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Usos. I think the Usos retain, and maybe they have one more match at SummerSlam, and maybe then we'll have the titles change hands.
Okay. Sal?
Yeah, Andy, you sold me. Maybe they go with the last chance ever for the New Day at SummerSlam, and then they win it there. But yeah, Usos retain.
Okay.
I'm gonna go New Day.
What?
I'm going to say Usos simply because the lack of other face tag teams gives them a reason to drag this out for another pay-per-view, at least through SummerSlam.
True.
And there's no special stip on this match, so you got to think the special stip is coming at SummerSlam.
Sure. There's not really a whole lot of time to build a new program for SummerSlam either, so giving them a reason to continue this one makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, they'll just the New Day wins by count out again, or the New Day wins by disqualification this time.
Maybe
Right.
they'll go to SummerSlam against the New Day, and Jon Stewart will help the New Day win.
There you go.
Oh, I'd almost forgot that happened.
It's one of my wallpapers in rotation. Is Jon Stewart hitting Cena with a chair?
Of course it is. Next one.
Shinsuke Nakamura versus Baron Corbin.
I gotta say this is going to be Nakamura, only given the way they typically treat the person with the Money in the Bank briefcases. They can lose and lose and lose and lose until they cash in, and it makes no sense to have Nakamura lose at this point. So I'm going to go Nakamura.
Agree 100%.
I think that might swerve us. I think we're all expecting Nakamura, so we'll get Baron Corbin winning this one with an underhanded, smack of the briefcase or something.
Well, you're wrong. Nakamura's going to win.
Okay, fine, fair enough. I thought I'd be contrarian, but anyway.
Fatal 5-way elimination match to determine the number one contender to the women's championship, Naomi's women's championship at SummerSlam. Charlotte versus Becky Lynch versus Natalya versus Tamina versus Lana. I mean, I think it's obviously Lana, you guys.
Could be.
I'm on this kind of on the same boat as Jason was earlier, thinking that they're going to give Charlotte a shot at this point.
Yeah, I think they sort of started to dance around the Charlotte Naomi thing a little while ago and sort of dropped it to move to Carmella and fill in with Lana. I think Charlotte's going to win it here. I think Charlotte's going to win the title at SummerSlam, and I think Carmella's going to cash in on her that night, and that's going to be how they get there.
So a couple weeks back when they announced the match, Shane made it a point to say that this was going to be for a one-on-one match at SummerSlam, and the only person that could be featured in that kind of match with Naomi's got to be Charlotte.
Well, Becky could.
Yeah, I'm going to go Becky. I'm going to be the one person again that goes outside of it, just because I don't know. I feel like maybe they're going to save the Charlotte thing for later, and maybe have Charlotte go one-on-one with. With Carmella, perhaps at I don't know, whatever other big ones after SummerSlam. So I think they're going to go with Becky for now. So
I'm glad Andy said I'm going to go outside of it, because using outside the box as it relates to the women's match would have been a phrasing error.
Yes, we're still doing phrasing.
AJ Styles defending his United States Championship against Kevin Owens.
Once they're dead, they're just hookers. Sorry.
No, Cyril.
Sorry, what was that?
U.S. title match.
I don't know. I kind of there's a small part of me that wonders if Owens is going to win it right back, but I think they're just going to keep it on AJ.
I say they're going to keep it on AJ, and they're going to go right into AJ Styles' U.S. Open Challenge, and I'm fine with that.
I don't want to see the new face of America gimmick end, but I agree. I think that stayed on AJ Styles here.
Yeah, and it kind of bums me out. But yeah, I don't think you make the swap at MSG to make the swap back 2 weeks later. So everybody's favorite match,
Fuck
flag
this.
match.
I'm kind of looking forward to it, guys.
Of course you are. Cena versus Rusev, flag match in 2017.
In a match only comparable to the U.S. military versus Al Qaeda post 9/11.
That's what John Cena said on SmackDown. He
Yeah.
compared it to 9/11.
Well, you know.
Didn't know we were at war with Bulgaria, but that's okay.
No, you know.
Or Bulgaria, as he likes to call it.
Clever.
Dick
Obviously,
jokes are funny.
obviously Cena wins, although I think it would be a hell of a middle finger to the audience to have Rusev go over in this one. Like, I think that'd be
Right?
so great. I would love. My heart wants Rusev to win this so badly,
Okay.
but it'll probably be Cena.
Then allow me. This is one of the matches where I specifically I want to book this because, to your point, Andy, here's how I do this. I have Rusev win because I have the Singh brothers come out and cost John Cena the match.
Oh,
I'm fine with that. I like that idea.
That, of course, leads to SummerSlam.
Yep,
Cena
yep.
angry, goes after the Singh brothers,
Mhm.
and then you get Jinder and Cena at WrestleMania. I'm
Yeah.
going Rusev wins, Singh brothers interfere.
That would be good booking.
Jason, I would like to take your booking one step further and have Rusev then align himself.
They
In
already
a-
did that.
But you don't think
Rusev,
like
yeah.
him as the real like enforcer of that, kind of tandem would be even better?
I don't want to see Rusev playing a second banana. Yeah.
I like
see him
that
doing
idea
something.
though. I don't think they're gonna do it. I gotta admit, as much as John Cena is hyping this up that he has to win this for the good old US of A, it would be a hell of a booking decision to have him lose.
Mhm.
It would definitely be much more interesting than if he won.
And by having the Singh brothers involved, you build to your SummerSlam program and give Cena an out for why he lost, and you don't have to have Rusev lose his return match.
Absolutely.
All of which makes a ton of sense to me, and so they probably won't do it.
Right.
Yeah, it would do far more for Rusev to win this match than it will harm Cena to lose this match, which is why Cena is going to win this match.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think there's no doubt in my mind that that's what they're going to do because Herb a Dirtball American. And your main event, the Punjabi prison match for the WWE Heavyweight Championship, Randy Orton versus the modern day Maharaja, Jinder Mahal.
Jinder all the way. Ginger's gonna win.
It's the worst Arnold Schwarzenegger movie I ever saw. Yeah, I think Jinder takes it and moves on to something else. And I don't think they're going to put the belt back on Randy at this
Please
point.
don't put it back on Randy Orton.
No, yeah, it's going to stay on Jinder.
I say Jinder, but this is how I would book it because you brought up his name a couple of SmackDowns ago. I would have Khali come out from the underneath the ring.
No,
and attack Randy Orton.
No.
Oh, then we can get that
And then you
awesome
could have-
Randy Orton.
I'll do you one
the two
better,
of them at
Sal.
SummerSlam.
I'll do you one better, Sal. Randy Orton's about to climb down the cage. Jinder gets under him and holds him on his shoulders and won't let him get down as Jinder goes over the other side of the cage.
Book it.
I never need to see the Great Khali on my television ever again. So
Aww.
Maybe we can re-sign Rey Mysterio and then do Khali versus Mysterio. Adam?
Oh,
There you go.
that would be fitting with what they usually do with Rey Mysterio. So.
Okay, Adam.
Whoa, there's fire going on. Holy
Fire!
shit.
Fire!
For those of you listening at home, my wife just tried to set me on fire.
hey.
She's saying, get your goddamn ass off this podcast. It's almost midnight, you motherfucker.
Dicks on fire!
Well,
It's not Sister Abigail's ashes. Do not light that man on fire.
Did you just call me a dick?
Yes.
Oh, Lord. All right, guys, I'm going to hop off. Have fun with the closing half
Wait,
hour
there's one more
segment.
prediction.
There's one more.
Yes. There's
What do we have left?
There's a team that's been harassing Breezango, and they're going to reveal themselves.
Oh, I forgot about that. Well, we did the main event.
Well, it's not the main event. It's just we added it to the.
Oh, okay.
Technically, Adam forgot to mention that, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So who do we think the mystery team's going to be?
Going off what's on the rundown. I'm still going Harper and Rowan.
Yeah, I'm with Adam.
Harper Rowan.
I wasn't there until I saw the note, because the note was written almost like a child, which sort of fits the mentality that they portray with Eric Rowan.
I'm going AOP.
Wait, it's
I'm going Authors of Pain as well.
See, if it was prior to SummerSlam, I would say that, but they've still got the SummerSlam pay-per-view in Brooklyn to do for NXT. So having them come
They can do both. Kevin Owens has done both.
There's no Kevin Owens.
And because the best thing to do at this point is to take a tag team out of NXT.
Well, they'll just split them up in a couple weeks anyway.
That's true. We don't need tag team wrestling.
The depth of the tag division in NXT.
And Raw and SmackDown.
All right. Should we go to our exclusive now?
All right. Well, I'm going to get out of here because I don't
die.
want to die. So I'll see you guys later. I'll send you the audio. Have a great rest of the show.
Email it to me.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
Indeed.
Ruby slippers on bullshit. Exclusive.
All right, so as teased on social media and as mentioned a couple times during the show, for our New England fans, it is time. We are going to this Sunday, and Adam and I will both be in attendance and participating. It is Sunday. It is all day. It is the El Mundo Fan Festival at Fenway Park. As part of that, the Bell Time Club and Dante Luna will be presenting a Wrestler and All Stars of New England showcase. We are talking Stars of New England championships from multiple promotions will be defended in one building. This is a first. This is the kind of stuff that's not happened in the past before. This is a legit super show for New England wrestling. And I have what is, as of now, the official card. As always, card is subject to change. So there's nothing we can do if something like that happens. But as of right now, the official card, I'm going to announce right now to our viewers and listeners in the New England area, this is all the incentive you need to show up at Fenway Park Sunday afternoon.
I'm so excited.
We have a Green Monster Challenge match, which is going to be a multi-person tag team match featuring Ty Shine, Nick Westgate, Alec Parnell, and Old School Cool taking on Jacoby, Mike Skyros, Eric Dillion, and Foxy Calvin Campbell. So that is a opening Green Monster Challenge multi-person tag match. Representing APW, we will see Apocalypse in action taking on Cameron Replay. We are going to have a Fatal 4-Way Family Festival Tag Team Championship crowned as the Elements of Violence will take on Turtles in Time, the Baker Boys, and the 5-Star Spectacle. So representatives of multiple promotions in that match. The team of Mass Destruction is going to take on the Heavy Hitters, who are champions in many places. The ElkMania Heavyweight Championship will be defended in a Bay State Open Challenge as Derek Simonetti takes on Jack Kruger, Buddy Romano, and Tony Spencer.
Yeah, that's the Bay State Heavyweight Championship.
Yes, in the Bay State Open Challenge. That's why I said Bay State Open Challenge.
Yeah, but you said
And he didn't
ElkMania
say.
Heavyweight Champion.
Sorry. Whatever. We're going to have the Showcase Pro Championship as Punisher Don Vega takes on Cargill Vinton, takes on Scott Lador, and Chris Matrix in a 4-way. Lots of 3s and 4-ways in this show. Representing NCW, Mike Pava and the Lumberjack are going to take on the Maine State Posse. We got some women's action as Miss Sammy Lane is going to go one-on-one with Tequila Rose. A New England Pro Wrestling Academy match, Brett Domino versus Dan Lavoie versus Scotty Slade in the triple threat.
Nice.
We're going to have G.A. West versus Kellen Thomas versus Chris Camaro versus Scotty Vegas in a 4-way.
Nice.
Slam Dance Tim Lennox, Ike, and Sully Banger versus the Alpha Squad with Buff Fam. We're going to have Josh Briggs taking on Congo. That is going to be one you want to see a couple of dudes.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Helen Vale versus Delilah Hayden versus Alicia Andrews in a triple threat women's match. We're going to have another triple threat as Dan Terry takes on Mike Orlando and Xavier Bell. That's some real up-and-coming talent in New England. Representing the RWA, we're going to have Mike Montero taking on Frank the Crank. Big Time Wrestling's Heavyweight Championship going to be defended as Flex Armstrong takes on the biggest of them all, Benny Jux. That's going to be one you don't want to miss.
Wow.
Here's what I'm looking forward
I
to.
haven't seen Benny in years. Wow.
Here's one I'm looking forward to. The LPW Heavyweight Championship going to be defended as the selfie-made man, Vern Vicalo, brings the belt to Fenway to go one-on-one with Cam Zagami.
Nice.
The Pioneer Valley Pro Wrestling Championship going to be defended as Johnny Idol takes on Tomahawk and Von Vicious in a triple threat.
That'll be good too. Those guys are all good.
The Pro Wrestling Magic Heavyweight Championship on the line as Pro Wrestling Savior JT Dunn takes on Fabulous Johnny Vegas. And I haven't yet seen it, but I heard these guys had a match this past weekend that tore the house down. So I'm looking forward to seeing this one live at Fenway. That's going to be a really cool match.
Yeah, I heard they absolutely killed it at Chaotic last week.
That's what I heard. Representing NECW, Chris Escobar is going to take on Devin Blaze, the funny man. That's going to be one I'm looking forward to. Devin's a very talented guy, and Chris is tremendous. 2 tag team titles defended in one match as the Top Rope Promotions and Pioneer Valley Pro Wrestling Tag Team Championships are on the line when the Closers take on the Cool People in the battle of 2 of the very talented tag teams in New England.
Nice.
Representing Chaotic, 2 of their top young talents go one-on-one as Ilya Markopoulos takes on Christian Casanova, and that is one you do not want to miss.
That's going to be a great match.
The UFO Heavyweight and Women's Championships will be defended in a mixed tag match where if either one of the champions loses, they will lose their title to their counterpart on the other side. The Kingpin, Brian Malonis, teams with his protege, Davian, as they take on T-Phoenix and Isana.
Wow.
So 2 titles on the line in that one match. That's going to be a good one. The XWA Tag Team Championship on the line as Ace Romero and Anthony Green, who just captured those titles. I believe they call themselves
Take Me Home Tonight.
Yep. They're going to take on Trip and Mike Grassa. So that's going to be another great one. The El Mundo Grand Championship is going to be on the line in a fatal 4-way as Toto Loco takes on Bo Douglas, takes on Slick Wagner Brown, and Jason Rumble. Those are 4 big names. We're also, of course, going to have a battle royal that you don't want to miss to end off the show. So there it is. There's your crowd. There's your card, stacked top to bottom, titles from all sorts of promotions. It's an all-day event. We're going to be doing this thing. We're going to be exhausted by the end of the night, Adam. I hope you're ready. But it's going to be a hell of an event, one of the biggest in the history of New England independent wrestling. It is $10 to enter the festival. It is this Sunday. I encourage you, if you're in the area, if you're a fan of wrestling, come check it out. There's a ton of other stuff going on. Great stuff for the kids, face painting, all sorts of activities. I believe the Boston Celtics are going to have representation at the event. It's a Sunday afternoon. Go down to Fenway Park. You spend $10. You come in. There's a ton of stuff to do, and you get to see the absolute best in New England independent wrestling on display.
Well worth the price of admission.
I'm so fucking excited. You have no idea. So that is Sunday. Coming up tomorrow night, Brew City Wrestling Summer Sizzler Tour continues Friday, July 21st at the Columbus Club of West Allis, Wisconsin. Bell time at 7:30. Doors open 6:45. Tickets are $20 for ringside, 18 at the door, 16 on BrewCityWrestling1.com. Then again, my favorite thing to say on this show: join us at the Slurp and Burp Fun Bar, 1454 South 92nd Street for the after party. On the card for that show, Brew City Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship, Max Holiday defending against Ring of Honor star the Beer City Bruiser, Evil Dis taking on Sierra.
Evil Dis.
Former WWE star Malia Hoska taking on the Midwest Slayer Stacy Shadows. And more. Again, go to BrewCityWrestling1.com. Then on Sunday, we've got El Mundo. And then next Sunday, a free
2
show.
Sundays in a row. 2 Sundays in a row. Atlantic Pro Wrestling is privileged for our 5th year in a row to bring professional wrestling to Newburyport Yankee Homecoming as part of Old Fashioned Sunday. We have 2 Old Fashioned Sunday Battle Royals where the winners will face off later to crown the Yankee Homecoming champion. The main event of the day will feature the APW Heavyweight Championship on the line as the juggernaut John Poe defends against the unequaled one Todd Sopel. And this is a match Todd's been waiting for a very long time, a shot to get back the APW Heavyweight Championship. We're also going to have the APW New England Championship defended as Xavier Bell takes on Mulligan Mike Pava. And I talked about this recently. APW begins the road to royalty where we will crown a new king of Atlantic Pro Wrestling. Qualifying matches will start this night with semifinals and finals to be held at Overload in September at the Boys and Girls Club in Salisbury, Massachusetts. Qualifying matches to take place at Yankee Homecoming will feature Lumberjake versus Cousin Larry, the selfie-made man Vern Vicalo versus Slam Dance Tim Lennox, the fitness man Dan Terry going to take on the Hampton Beach bad boy Hunter Ward, and the Canadian legend Matt Loudon versus Marvelous Michael McManus. And lastly, but not least, the Atlantic Pro Wrestling Women's Championship will be on the line as Vanity Vixen defends against Davey Ann. And that is another match you do not want to miss.
So that is next Sunday, July 30th on the Bartlett Mall in the Newburyport Old Yankee Homecoming. Again, free show outside. Always a great time until the rain comes. And the rain always comes. Then August 5th, Saturday, August 5th, back to Saturday. Thank you. At the Elks Hall in Clinton, Massachusetts, Lucky Pro Wrestling presents Summer Sizzle.
Get lucky.
Already signed for that card. Brick Mass Stone defending his new LPW Hard Knocks Championship against the Dynasty Bo Douglas. A special challenge match where Sweat Boy gets 3 minutes in the ring with Brian Cairo if he can beat Mr. Cairo's selected mercenary of Big Jim Anderson. The LPW Women's Championship on the line as Davey Ann defends her title against former NXT superstar Deonna Purrazzo. And in your main event, the LPW Championship, Vern Vicalo or Cam Zagami, depending on what happens at El Mundo, will defend the title against the Punjabi Lion Robo. Also scheduled to appear, the LPW Tag Team Champions, the Aristocrats, the Three Horsemen of LPW, Scotty Slade, Mike Webb, and Donovan Dijak. Also Adira, Isana, Anthony Green, and more to be announced. Look out for that on Facebook. And then after that, you got something going on the 23rd of August.
Yeah, 23rd of August, UFO Wrestling back in action with Big Bang 2017. We are back at the Malden Irish American Club. Doors open at 7 p.m. for a special meet and greet. Tickets are $12. General admission, reserved front row seats are available on advanced purchase only. All others are first come, first serve, and we have a tremendous card shaping up for UFO that night as the UFO Heavyweight Championship will be on the line, assuming Brian Malonis retains it at Fenway Park. We'll find out. If he does, he will be in attendance defending that title against Chris Dickinson, who's a big name in the New England independent world. The UFO tag team titles are going to be on the line as Bo Douglas and Josh Briggs, the champions, defend against the Cool People, who they have a little history with each other from recent UFO encounters. Teddy Goods is going to be there taking on one of New England's biggest stars, Ilya Markopoulos, in a one-on-one match. And the selfie-made man, Vern Vicalo, is going to take on Impact Wrestling star Robbie E. Also, we're going to have Furio Falcone, Aaron Amadeus, Benny Jux, and much, much more. That is UFO Big Bang 2017, August 23rd, Wednesday night at the Malden Irish American Club.
Very nice, very nice.
You can
Liberty
check out
States
UFO Wrestling on Facebook for more information.
Yes. Liberty States Wrestling returns on Saturday, September 9th to the John McCarthy Elementary School in Peabody, Massachusetts. Nothing specific announced for that show just yet. And ElkMania returns with ElkMania 5 on Saturday, September 23rd at the Beverly Salem Elks Lodge in Beverly, Mass. The only thing announced for that so far is a battle between the two Bay State champions as Derek Simonetti defends against Buddy Romano to determine the true Bay State championship. But we'll see what happens at Fenway Park. So who knows what will happen there. You're not going to yell?
What?
We're not going to get Elks on fire, honey?
What are you talking about?
I'm so disappointed. Follow us on Twitter
Elks on fire.
At Rundown Podcast on Twitter. Send us feedback to rundownwrestling@gmail.com.
That's my Mr. Kennedy gimmick.
Leave a voicemail on the hotline, Kennedy, at 617-863-6967. That is 61 Rundown 7. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Rundown Wrestling. Watch archived episodes at youtube.com/Rundown Podcast. And if you want to make a donation of the monetary variety, go to paypal.me/Rundown Wrestling. Cost me $10 a month to host this on Podomatic. If you want to help out with that, it would be greatly appreciated. Check out all the shows on the Questionable Endeavor Network. You've got your Shadow Veins, you got your Tooning Japaneses, your Raw Attitude Podcasts, Slasher Sanitarium, the PWN Stars, New Blood Rising, Words of Geekdom, all at questendnetwork.com. Quest at QuestEndNetwork on Twitter, and go to questendnetwork.com/Discord, DISCORD, to check out our channel on the Discord app.
Also, allow me to just apologize for not getting a rundown sit-down up this week with between some scheduling conflicts and some birthday celebration obligations I had last week. I was unable to get one up, but I will be back, not next Monday, but the following Monday, I believe, the 31st, with my sit-down that I just conducted with the selfie-made man, Vern Vicala, we talked about earlier. Very nice. Looking forward to that. Yes, and continue listening to Nitro Mania on Wednesdays, and we'll see what happens when NXT Revisited comes back. Yeah. We'll have to shuffle that around. So about Nitromania.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm enjoying the crap out of the show. I love the perspective of someone who hasn't seen it before, going back and watching the Nitro episodes that I grew up watching. I love the fact that you started off the first episode like 19 minutes and talked about it being too short. And then I looked this week and it's 11 minutes.
This week was not good. This week was not good. It's a 1 hour show.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's not even. It's like 44 minutes. If you watch the actual episode of Nitro, he really does say all that needs to be said.
Hey, pasta still rules, brother.
Johnny B. Bad and his load
of confetti.
Check out our friends.
I think this happens after the whole. You missed the whole Johnny B. Bad, Brian Pillman gimmick.
Yeah.
Because at one point they did a loser leaves town match where Johnny B. Bad beat Brian Pillman. So then Brian Pillman put on a mustard yellow jumpsuit and a yellow mask and called himself the Yellow Dog, which led to a big showdown. I believe it was at the Great American Bash one year, where Brian Pillman enters the ring in his Yellow Dog costume. And Johnny B. Bad is making his way down, and the camera pans right into the face of the Yellow Dog, who you can clearly tell is Brian Pillman, in time for him to look right into the camera and say, "Johnny, don't be bad. Johnny, be gay." So,
nice. Good job, Brian. I'm just glad that when he turned heel after losing to Johnny B. Bad at Fall Brawl, that he actually got his last name back. So...
he was always flying Brian Pillman.
No. They left out the Pillman for a good few weeks there.
in the announcement, but they always referenced it in commentary and stuff.
Speaking of which, I don't know speaking of what, but that's not a segue at all, but it's the best that I got right now. Check out our friends, the Kingpin, Brian Malonis and Mike Crockett, over on the Wrestling Podcast About Nothing, facebook.com/thewpan.
And I hear tell a rumor, Adam, that those two might be doing a little something at El Mundo this Sunday themselves.
What?
So that'd be worth checking out.
Indeed. Always a good listen.
Although this week the Kingpin apparently ditched Crockett and didn't show up for the show, and Crockett had to go solo. So,
but give them a listen. They're helping us out. We're helping them out. We appreciate their support. Search for us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Podbean, or Podomatic, everywhere great podcasts are sold. Under the Rundown Wrestling Podcast, if you subscribe, you get the podcast delivered to you absolutely free each and every week, $0, 0 cents.
Did you say sold? Do we sell this shit?
Yeah, that was the joke. Thank you.
Well, no, I just want to make sure there's not money floating around that I'm missing out on getting a cut of.
To quote the GIF that Troy always posts in the host thread, that's the joke.
Are we still doing that?
I actually used that GIF on a Twitter post the other day. Anyway, if you leave a 5-star review on iTunes, that'll help other people find us. If you leave a text review, we'll read your name in your review at the end of a future episode.
And if you leave a 3-star review, Adam will lose his shit, and that's entertaining too.
Maybe not as much this time, now that it's not ruining a perfect 5-star score, but we'll see what happens.
Is there a way you can protest that 3-star and say, listen, I think we're much better than that?
I don't think so. Thanks to everybody for listening each and every week. Thanks to everybody in the chat room. Who we got, Jason?
We have Matt Riley was in there. We had Smathers was in there. Kogo Sean, Kenny Lockhart in the place, and Nina Marie stopped by too. So thank you to everybody.
Thank you, Sal.
Oh, thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Jason.
You're welcome.
And thanks to Ray Williams for the logo. Thanks to I Fight Dragons at ifightdragons.com for the theme song. Jace.
What?
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 Said the theme song. What? Next week.
You're gonna thank him for the logo. What? The theme song. What? Being on the side. What? Co-hosting. What?
Listening. What? Next week we'll talk about Battleground.
Maybe.
And what actually
Unless
happened.
it sucks balls, in which case we might just gloss right the fuck over it and go to discussing our experiences at the El Mundo Festival this coming Sunday at Fenway Park.
Indubitably. As always.
By the way, if any of the boys are listening to this show, please note that I will be hitting up every fucking one of you to appear on the Rundown Sit Down of the show. Be prepared.
Huzzah.
Plan your excuses accordingly. Just saying.
I was just gonna say that.
And
As
Taz
always.
might be there. Taz might show up for the El Mundo Festival.
You all right there, pal?
Sound a little hoarse, pal. Goddamn, pal, take a lozenge.
Vascular. As always, breathe. Zong. Fuck yourself.
You sound congested.
Are you saying you
So-
sound like the giant in 1995 on Nitro?
I finally figured it out what that voice reminds me of. And it's not Vince, it's fucking Bat Dad. You sound like Bat Dad when you
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, look it up. It's great. Well, I'll tell you. I'll explain off the air. Breeze on, go fuck yourself. We already said that. And,
I believe you mean fashion. Please yourself.
and of course, take care, Boldy Faces.
See you next Thursday.
Bye.
Until August. Then it's Wednesday.
See you next
That's not
Wednesday.
gonna work anymore.
That doesn't work like that.
No. Then I can't
Well-
call people. Never mind.
If we record
Oh.
on Wednesday, it'll still be posted on Thursday. So that still kind of technically works.
Wait,
See
should
you
I
next
still-
Thursday.
Should I still be recording, or are we?
Who knows?
Is this banter that we're going to use, or is this something I should just stop now? Or is this one of those things you're going to put at the end to make me sound like an idiot? All right, I'm stopping recording now. Should I stop recording? Seriously, tell me.
Hey,
I'm
no,
still
I
recording.
already stopped.
All right, fuck it. I'm stopping.
Yeah, I just stopped it.
Don't dream it's over. Compressed Dynamics 1.2.6. Hey, it's not midnight yet. We made it, you guys.
Effect.
There was a
This is-
lot of news.
This is fucking going on tomorrow. Yeah, news was a little long.
There was less news this week than there was last week.
Oh, yeah. Maybe
was that-
it felt longer because I don't care about AAA.
There were some long articles.
Bat Dad is a somebody who came about when Vine was a thing. It's a dude in a Batman mask basically harassing his children. It's hilarious. But he uses that Batman voice, and that's what it fucking reminds me of.
Okay. I have no idea what you're talking about.
So how come the Giant in WCW in 1995 sounded like Fandango?
What?
Did you hear him on that interview with Kevin Sullivan?
Yeah.
He's got the wicked raspy voice like Fandango has now.
He does have a bit of a weird thing to his speech, but I wouldn't say he sounds like Fandango.
He definitely doesn't sound like the Big Show does now. I'll put it to you that way.
Well, yeah. I'm sure he was
Fine.
John,
affecting. Go to a buffet.
I'm sure he was affecting something because of the
Oh, and speaking of which, for your information,
Speaking of buffets,
Flair calls Kevin Sullivan the devil because that was his gimmick for years in Florida Championship Wrestling.
And he's a Satan worshiper.
Well, yeah. But you sounded a little bit confused that Flair was calling him the devil. I was confused that they were
Yeah.
fighting on the beach. But you know,
You haven't gotten to the I Respect You match between Kevin Sullivan and Brian Pillman. One of the highlight moments of WCW. No joke, really. Go look it up.
I look forward to all these things, good and bad.
I appreciate Bobby Heenan on commentary. I don't
Oh, God.
appreciate Mongo. Like
No, Mongo is the shit.
God Almighty, how does he transition to become a horseman? I'll never know.
I think I'm going to start putting "pull up your socks and get ready" at the end of every episode, just because it's so good. I think do I have it on here? I'll give you guys.
Be honest, you just started bursting out laughing when he said that.
I probably watched it about 6 times. Pull up your socks and get ready. Do I still have it on here?
You got the worst dye job going on right now in this.
That's
95 in WCW. Oh my, his caterpillar friend is great.
Mean Gene and his caterpillar friend. Is it this one? Yeah, I'll give you guys a preview of a future episode here, because again, why is that not coming through there? I don't know. Steve Mongo says one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. I'm gonna unplug this. Oh, it's gonna go through there. Okay.
Is it dumber than saying they ruined Roddy Strong right after his debut in the tag title tournament?
I'll let you decide. It's not coming through the speaker, so I gotta do it like this.
Now, let me understand this. 1,000 holes. Now, there's a book out, 101 sex positions. Where does he come up with 1,000 holes? Don't touch it, Bobby. I will pull your mic. I know you were chopping at the bit. Not me.
Fuck does that even mean?
All I know is that there's 21 positions in a one-night stand.
Mongo is fucking garbage. And
What's
I don't
the
know
point? You've been watching. What the hell's the point of the dog?
It's just his dog. It's like his gimmick.
But why?
That's Pepe.
But why? Is it the same Pepe that gets fed to El Snow?
It's fucking Mongo. Reason. It's Mongo. Goddamn McMichael. There are no answers.
Did he fight Kevin Green yet, or is that a couple years later?
Oh.
Jason, you would know, right?
It's a couple years later, but it's the same fucking reason why Mr. Perfect used to flip his pen. It's just some announcers have a little thing that's just their thing, and then his was the dog.
Yeah, but flipping a pen makes a lot more goddamn sense than having a dog at the commentary table.
Dressed up like a cowboy.
No, you got to keep in mind that was the time frame when the little dogs were all the rage, and you had like Paris Hilton walking around with her little dog, and
really in 1995, Paris Hilton.
Yeah.
No. Pretty sure Paris Hilton wasn't a thing until like 2004, but that's all right.
She was alive and being photographed by TMZ with her little puppy all the time.
In 95.
And amongst other celebrities who were doing it, it was a trend.
Anus gapes anew. All right, are we Skyping this shit or are we Googling this shit? Because
I'm Googling it to you.
Because it's fucking 12:03. So
it's exporting right now, so I'm Googling it.
If you guys are Googling, I'm going to go to bed because this is not going up tonight because it's already tomorrow. But so, bye-bye, YouTube.
So I just email you the attachment, right?
Yep, or put it in a Google Drive and invite both email addresses. Figure it out.
No.
Bye, YouTube.